The week is finally here. NFL Draft Week has finally arrived. We've waited a long time. We have a very busy week ahead of us, and it all starts tonight. So do us a favor, kick back, relax, because episode 40 of 609 Sports Talk, the NFL Draft Preview Show, starts now. And once again, welcome in everyone back to another edition of 609 Sports Talk, live over here on Facebook, over on YouTube, and of course, every Wednesday, Spotify. These episodes drop. I don't know what the heck's happening on the Spotify schedule this week at all, so don't even ask me. But we'll talk about that another day. As always, you guys know this is the show that unites fans. Yeah, unites fans and ignites debate. I'm not screwing it up again.
We may or may not ignite fans tonight.
It may be. There may be a lot of igniting of fans tonight because there's going to be a lot of talk about multiple teams tonight. But as always, we are your hosts, Sam Nelson, Tyler Adams, and of course, we are joined once again by our friend over at ChicagoSportsHQ.com, Mr. Dustin Reese. Dustin, thank you for joining us once again.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Of course. So, look, we have a busy show. Look, if you have come here for anything besides NFL draft talk, well, then I can't help you. We cannot help. We cannot help with any other services. So we got a lot to talk about. Of course, Tyler and I, towards the end of the show, we'll talk some Eagles draft. We haven't talked Eagles in a while.
Yeah, you're right.
It's been a bit for you. Yeah, so we'll talk some Eagles draft. Hey, we had some Eagles news today too.
Cam Jurgens.
I was predicting that from the moment the season ended.
Mm-hmm.
And for the people that were upset at a certain trade that happened with the Texans, this is why that stuff has to happen. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. We're going to talk to prospects that each of us like throughout the NFL draft. I'm sure we have a few names in each position we all like. I may have more than others, but that's another story for another day. Look, don't shake your head at me. I went psychotic this year, okay? But anyway, then we're going to do a 609 Sports Talk first round mock draft where we mock a player to all of the 32 teams in the first round. No trades, because as of right now, I think is it like for the first time in a long time that every team currently holds their actual pick in the first round? It's like
I believe so.
None of these are acquired via trade. No one's traded around. It's everyone's pick. Now, I think it's safe to say we can agree it's not going to stay like that.
No.
Someone's going to move, but...
There's 8 teams right now that want to move down.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of that. A lot of trade down. I'm telling you, people have been saying it. People don't see a humongous talent drop-off from picks like 32 to like 50. There's not much of a drop-off, people are saying. So I don't know how many franchise-altering, changing players are in this draft. I know it's a lot of talented players, though. I'm not sure. Like, is there... Okay, I want to say Myles Garrett because Abdul Carter actually may be that type of a player. But you get my point. Like, there's not many of them in this draft. Like, we know the one position that's not going to be that this year probably, and that's going to be the quarterback position. But since we're going toward that subject, let's talk about it. As we know, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say Cam Ward is most likely going to be the number 1 overall pick, unless the Tennessee Titans have somebody in their building that just want to make a joke. I'm pretty sure we can agree with that. Even despite the talk of Shedeur Sanders falling a little bit, I'm still sure he's going to be a first-round pick. Then you have Jackson Dart, who some people think he could go as high as in the top 12. Then you have people in the back 12. I don't know. And then there's Jalen Milroe's attending the draft. Yes, I know he could still be taken early night two, but there's still a chance that a team may want to go secure him in round one to have that fifth-year option, like we always say. So, gentlemen, that's going to start off the show right here. That is the question to start the show. How many quarterbacks do you guys think are going to go on night one? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Those are the only options because I think if there's a fifth quarterback, that someone needs to be drug tested. So who would like to start off here?
My guess is 3. I see Cam Ward going, Shedeur, and Dart. Milroe is a question mark for me because I think it is possible a team could trade into like the back end of first round to get him. But I think some teams just might stay put and take him early in the second round.
Yeah, nah, according to Joe Giglio on 94.1, the Eagles may take him.
Yeah, okay.
Here's how Joe Giglio wants the Eagles draft to go. He wants to trade A.J. Brown for the 4th overall pick if Abdul Carter falls, which if you think that's going to happen, that's cute to think of. And he wants Jalen Milroe in the second round. So that's how his draft board he wants. That's what he wants in his first 2 picks.
I mean, the mock draft that I saw from Daniel Jeremiah today had Abdul Carter falling to 10 to go to Chicago.
Oh, man.
Going outside? In what universe is if Abdul Carter falls to 10, okay, if I'm Howie Roseman, I may have to consider something.
I mean, it's because of his work ethic. A lot of people don't like his work ethic. They called him lazy. They've called him one of those players that has all the talent in the world but doesn't want to put the work into it.
Jadeveon Clowney, 2.0.
Pretty much.
Oh, this is a tough subject for me to talk about.
It's reminding people a lot of Carter on Philadelphia, Jalen Carter in Philadelphia, where his work ethic wasn't the greatest, but he was one of the more talented, if not the most talented player in his class.
Yeah. And now to the Eagles' credit, having a guy like Vic Fangio here helped solve some of that.
There's Dennis Allen, because Dennis Allen's a guy that can get the most out of players that are very raw when it comes to talent.
Yeah. But I could see people with Abdul falling because of like the concerns with, he had the foot problem, he had the shoulder injury in the playoff. I'd take him just alone off of playing through that shoulder injury. The guy was basically going against Notre Dame's offensive line with one arm.
Yeah.
So I still think he's going to go top 5. I don't see anybody that would pass up on that and not hope they could. Now, if he goes to the Giants, if he goes to the Giants, I hope he is lazy. Giants fans deserve that. They don't deserve Abdul Carter. They 100% don't. But Tyler, I agree with what you said. Cam Ward's going to go 1. Shedeur's going to go anywhere between 3 and probably like 12. I'm being generous. It's probably more like between 3 and 9. But I'm going to go 3 and 12 because now
obvious.
Jacksonville it could be a dark horse for them, I heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 2 are guaranteed, and I think 3 would be Jackson Dart. I don't think Milroe gets into the first round.
That's right. Like for the question, I said when I put it out yesterday, I said 4 because I think somebody is going to do that.
If someone does it, it's gonna be for Kyle McCord.
For
You
McCord?
don't know about that. I like McCord. Don't get me wrong. I watched him at Ohio State before he transferred. I watched him last year, but I feel like somebody is going to jump back in the first round and take Milroe. I just feel it. I think someone is going to do it, and I think it's going to be Cleveland.
I mean, the thing that hurts Milroe is how he played this year against good competition. He crapped the bed. He crapped the bed this year anytime he faced a good team.
He did.
And that really hurt his draft stock because if you remember heading into this season, Jalen Milroe was the number 1 quarterback prospect. Ahead of Cam Ward, ahead of Shedeur Sanders, ahead of Jackson Dart and all these guys. He goes and has the season he has, and now he's fallen to the number 5 quarterback prospect. The Louisville quarterback's ahead of him at 4.
Oh, man.
And that's because whenever he faced good competition this year, he was average at best. That's why I don't see people taking the risk to trade up for him, because he's going to have that hanging over his head now.
Yeah, because, I mean, when you look at these quarterbacks in these big conference schools, you don't judge them based off of the whole season. You really judge them by when they play these big teams and how they perform in those big games. And if they have a poor performance like that, it doesn't do them any favors. Sure, you can go beat Jacksonville, Ohio State University like 55-0. Sam, don't ask. Don't ask. Don't ask. Don't question it. I'm sure it's a school somewhere.
They probably play Bama twice a year. In a league where we don't play guys twice a year.
Yeah. But it hurt him a lot. He was one of those big name guys. But I think it hurt him a lot with Saban leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I think the NIL for that.
Yep.
Not all of it, but some of it.
Most of it.
Now, apparently some teams really still love Jalen Milroe, especially. I mean, what do you keep hearing? You keep hearing the Jalen Hurts. That's all we keep hearing. You could be Jalen Hurts. Okay.
Get out.
That's cute.
I don't like it.
That's awfully cute. However, I don't trust Jalen Milroe as a deliverer of the football. I still don't trust him as a passer. He is way too inconsistent for me to trust that. Like, now, Grant, you could say I made the same case for Jalen Hurts, and look at me now, but I don't know. I think a team is going to make that jump. I think a team is going to try to jump back in the first round and grab Milroe, so they at least have him for that with that famous fifth-year option. Because Dart's going is the third for me. Yeah. Ward's going 1. Shedor's going to go second. In terms of quarterbacks, not overall. If he goes second overall, someone needs to drug to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Cleveland picking number 2, so I mean,
anything's possible.
Yeah, well,
anybody.
Well, shit. He ain't wrong there.
I honestly, I have Will Howard as a better prospect than Jalen Milroe in the draft.
Thank you. I have Will Howard as like my QB like 4, and that's behind. Well, no, that's behind. I think Shedeur could be a little bit better than him. I think Shedeur has the ceiling. Ward's better, and I think Dart could be better. But I'll take the guy that, again, it's the J.J. McCarthy effect. I'll take the guy that won. Let me take the guy that won something. So I want to see him in the right system. I think Will Howard, it could be and I hate saying this, I don't like comparing him to someone so young. If you put him in the right situation, I think in a year or two he could develop into something of a poor man's version of Denver with Bo Nix. What can Will Howard not do? He can make every throw in the book. He can run a little bit. He's not Jalen Milroe, but he's not Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger when he got older, or Peyton Manning. He's not like, he ain't got cement legs. I like Will Howard in this draft. I really do. It's like one of my guys. I have a list of my guys. Trust me. We'll get into that later. But I think there's going to be 4. I think someone's going to take Milroe late first round and get that 5th year. What's up, Clint? Clint's fresh off of WrestleMania. So, Clint, are you still in Vegas? Are Raider fans ready for Ashton Genty not to be there at number 6? Because, we're here now the week of the draft, and now it's starting to get a little. There's some more stuff flying around that we weren't hearing for the last couple of weeks. Now we're hearing things. This could be going to be a very interesting draft, and because all these teams, no one's traded up, no one's traded back, no one's made like a before the draft trade. It's all like, well, what is going to happen? Because someone's going to make a move eventually. Mm-hmm. Now the question is who? And you know, while we're on the subject of quarterbacks, let's talk about Shedeur even more. Where are you guys realistically? Where do you think he's falling? Like, I have him between 3 and 12. Where do you guys think he's falling?
I think he goes 9.
You think he goes 9?
I agree. He doesn't make it past 9. If the Giants don't go with him, only other team I see going with him would be the Saints.
Saints don't have a choice. It's either Spencer Rattler or nobody, because nobody knows what's going on with Derek Carr in the shoulder right now. The Saints don't have a choice.
Yeah.
If he falls to that.
Yeah, and I mean, with the uncertainty around Derek Carr, you're going to need something out there. I mean, who is New Orleans' current backup quarterback?
Spencer Rattler is the current backup quarterback to Derek Carr, who's going to be starting if they don't draft Shedeur Sanders.
All from great Spencer Rattler.
Yep.
Oh, good Lord. Where am I at here? Tyler, Brian wants to know, should we tread lightly with the Boston radio station saying that Carter's falling to 4 and we're going to trade AJ to the pass? Why are Patriots fans just so in love with the fact that, oh, you know, Vrabel and AJ are best friends? They're going to trade for AJ Brown. AJ Brown's real best friend just helped him win a Super Bowl. I don't think AJ Brown wants to leave anytime soon.
Yeah. Last time I checked, AJ didn't win much in Tennessee.
Well, to be fair, that wasn't AJ's fault, though.
It was Ryan Tannehill's fault.
Hey, don't knock Tennessee Tannehill, man.
What did Tennessee Tannehill do?
He was
have Derek Carr carry them.
Hey, Tennessee Tannehill was as big as Kane Brown out there at some point. Okay.
Oh Jesus!
Don't you disrespect Tennessee Tannehill.
Can we talk about one quarterback that nobody talks enough about that I think is going to be the steal of the draft wherever he goes?
Who's that?
Tommy Mellott.
Really?
Tommy Mellott was the quarterback at Montana State last year for the Montana State Bobcats. Had 31 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, runs a 4.38 40. Had over 1,000 yards rushing and 16 rushing touchdowns.
Wow.
I'm trying to. That just screams 49er to me for some reason.
Mr. Irrelevant pick, 49ers?
No, not if he goes that far. If he goes that far, that's insulting.
He had over 50 career rushing touchdowns, like 3,000 yards rushing, and then he had over 70 passing touchdowns and just 10 interceptions.
Wow. That's impressive.
While running a 4.38 40 at a 6 foot, 208 pound frame.
Yeah, that screams 49ers to me. They love them 6 foot quarterbacks.
Yes, they do.
I don't care about the competition. Those are numbers that some scouts cannot ignore because those are eye-popping stats. And when you have a quarterback running a 4.3, someone's going to reach for him, even if it's in like round 4 or round 5. Someone will reach for him.
Oh, yeah. And I think what we're learning about quarterbacks, I don't care. Like, I agree with what you just said because I have a bunch of kids on my draft prospect list, which the whole 105 that I did film on. Yes, Tyler, I added another one.
Yeah, I know you told me.
No, that was 104. I did another one yesterday. But anyway, I don't care about level of competition. I don't care. If the guy can play, if these guys can play, these guys can play. Like, I don't care for the level of competition stuff. So, for anyone that thinks these kids can't play just because they're playing it, Tyler, help me out here. Give me a
Toledo.
Give me a random. Yeah, there's a good one.
Incarnate Word.
Mitchell.
Incarnate Word.
Yeah, right. The Citadel or something. I don't know.
Oh God, don't bring up Citadel.
Incarnate Word, the Citadel, Furman, the Paladins.
Well, all right. Now they're a little bit bigger than some of the ones we're saying. Mike Green's got 17 sacks at Marshall. When does Marshall produce a top 10 talent?
Randy Moss.
The last time.
Yeah, exactly.
Byron Leftwich, who was I think a top 15 pick. Chad Pennington was a top 20 pick out of Marshall.
So it's been a while, you say.
They had a string of really good prospects coming out of Marshall. And then after like Chad Pennington and Byron left, which that's when the football program got suspended for whatever the hell they did. It took 5 years for them to get credibility again. It took 5 years for them to even make a bowl again.
Well, as a Penn State fan, we are definitely used to our concerns with sanctions and punishments. Trust me, I don't want to talk about those days. Somehow Saquon Barkley got drafted in the top of the first round without an offensive line.
Saquon Barkley. He also got the Giants to a wild card playoff with no offensive line.
They had no quarterback.
Good point.
Just catch up on some comments real quick. Burnsy's back with us for another week, Tyler. What's up, Burnsy?
What's up, Burnsy?
Clint said he saw some Eagle fans out in Vegas. Of course he did. Oh, yeah. Of course he did.
They're everywhere.
Burnsy brought up the same thing as Dustin did with Randy Moss. Our favorite Eagles fan, Carol, is here saying, "Hey guys, how he's going to do is good. I have faith."
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that means Walter Nolan's an Eagle because Carol has been pinpointed excellence when it comes to Eagles predictions since the playoffs. So I'm walking out of night one with Walter Nolan, and I'm happy if he's there. So Anthony says, "Do you think someone will trade for Kirk Cousins?" Answer: the Falcons want other teams to pay $20 million of Kirk's $45.
I mean,
Pittsburgh.
No, there's two teams that make sense now. I don't know if one team will do it. Cleveland makes sense. Cleveland makes sense because Watson can't play this year anyways. I don't know if Cleveland trusts Joe Flacco for the whole year. Cleveland makes a ton of sense because Cousins has been with Kevin Stefanski before. Yeah. He's been with Kevin Stefanski 4 seasons before when he was the OC in Minnesota. That's the team I think that makes the most sense for anybody trading for Cousins. And then the other one, I had Tennessee as a team too, just because if they draft Cam Ward, Cousins is the perfect guy for Cam Ward to learn from. You could essentially just trade Will Levis over to Atlanta to be Michael Penix's backup, send Kirk Cousins over to Tennessee.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a very good possibility. That's good. That's a good point. But I would just find it funny that the Browns are trying to replace the quarterback with a ruptured Achilles, with someone who is just a year recovered from a ruptured Achilles.
Well, the difference is the Browns do have a good offensive line, though.
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
That's doesn't have to worry about getting hit like he did in Atlanta. Like he would actually have protection.
And aside from the injury in Atlanta, Kirk Cousins has been one of the more resilient quarterbacks in the league.
Well, yeah, and let's think of this as well. The Browns have a talented roster. They are not bad. I know their record says they are, but they are not.
Without Nick Chubb, they're bad. They need Nick Chubb to resign.
I don't know if Nick Chubb's. I feel like that injury. I mean, this will be the year to really tell. A year removed from, that 2-year part of the injury. Because last year when he came back, looked like a shell of his former self. But we can only hope. Because I love watching Nick Chubb play football. Can only hope that he can get back to his stomping days.
Yeah, but again, I think Cleveland's got talent, and they would have been just fine if they had a quarterback that at least knew what he was capable of doing.
Whoa! Are you saying Jameis Winston didn't know what he was doing?
He knew exactly what he was doing. That's the problem. Jameis Winston. And here's the thing. Once again, I know we're talking about Nick Chubb, but again, Chubb is still a free agent. He has not been re-signed by the Browns yet.
Yeah.
The team that's the most. There's the team that's the most interested in Chubb right now is Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Basically to replace Najee Harris.
Yeah. And, this is also the one position this is a deep draft in. It's pretty deep at running back, so Cleveland may just look to essentially find his replacement. And I hate to say that because I love Nick Chubb too.
Ideal beginning of the draft for Cleveland. Draft Travis Hunter, 2nd round pick, draft a running back, one of the best available on the board. Trade for Cousins. Run it with him. Rookie running back. Got Judy and Hunter. Good old line. Good defense.
I believe we talked about this last week, the three of us. I know the second round may be a little high in some people's regards for him, but if I'm the Browns and he's sitting there, we may have to go Peyton Hillis 2.0. Give me the big old camster. Give me Scatterboo in Cleveland. I think that he may change the whole franchise around.
He might.
He'll come out to the field with the dog pound mask on, choke collar, and all, just ready to roll.
That'll be the only stadium that they'll start the Scatterboo chant, and they'll be like, "Well, they're booing him already." And it's like, no.
If the Browns did draft him, I would not be surprised if he tried to play with a leather helmet.
Oh my gosh!
Just sign me up and let me go.
Oh my god, the leather helmet. It's like back when hockey player, like when goalies didn't wear helmets at all, just take a tuck to the back of the head. But I always like sports players that have like how Scatterboo, and like everyone always thinks that they're getting booed in their own stadiums. Like, I go back to baseball with that when the Phillies signed Raul Ibanez, and for the first 2 years of his career, my mother swore they were booing him every game. And I'm like, no, Mom.
Like Jay Bruce when he was in Cincy. Every time he would hit a home run, he would like yell Bruce, and it sounded like they were booing him as he rounded the bases.
That's another Phillies legend. Watching 36-year-old Jay Bruce run around my left field for a year, that was fun. Those were fun times. All right, so Clint says Browns fans have faith in Flacco.
They should, because he got into the playoff 2 years ago. He was 5-1 as a starter.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then Clint also said, you've seen his tweet from a week ago. He said they already wrote my ending when I was just getting started. Oh, so the Chubb's time in Cleveland must be over.
Yeah.
And Clint said, I don't think he's coming back. Browns have been linked to J.K. Dobbins.
I
don't see much of a difference there right now.
You want a healthy running back.
Just draft one.
Honestly.
Just draft one.
What's up, Georgie?
What's up, Georgie? Oh, I got to be on Dueling Aces tomorrow talking draft as well. Oh, my gosh. Georgie, of course, will be live with us on Thursday night for round one, so that'll be a fun time. And Anthony said, how do you feel about Hunter and Sanders getting their numbers retired after just 1 year? I think it's a joke just to make Dion happy in Colorado. Oh, good question. Anybody want to care to answer that?
It's a publicity stunt is what it is, but it's also for marketing. It goes to show that Dion made Colorado football relevant again, regardless of how he did it. But now you're retiring people's jerseys. It's going to get more players that want to go there.
Yep. So then the question's going to be in the future, what qualifies as getting your jersey retired?
I mean, everyone says that Cordell Stewart should have his jersey retired in Colorado because of what he did. What people fail to realize is Shedeur Sanders is Colorado's all-time passing touchdowns leader. He broke Cordell Stewart's record in 2 years when Cordell Stewart was there for 3 years. So Shedeur Sanders basically set every single passing record at Colorado in 2 years. And then Travis Hunter being the first two-way player to win the Heisman. That's both jersey retirement-worthy stuff.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I have to agree with that. Because, like I said, Hunter's the easy one for me. They're, like you said, two-way Heisman winners. You don't see that.
Yeah.
I would like now to see Penn State retire Drew Aller's number so we can say best quarterback since Kerry Collins.
Who?
Because literally he is the best freaking quarterback we had since Kerry Collins.
Wait, you didn't like Spencer Hackenberg?
You didn't like Sean Clifford?
Sean Clifford with his 12 years of eligibility?
Yeah, man. Dude played a decade there.
Dude, he was eligible for Penn State starting quarterback since he was 8 years old, okay? The guy was 8 years old when he had the job. I never thought I'd...
going to.
I liked McGloin, actually. The problem was with McGloin, they had that other kid that they would have, like, sub-packages for. That was the year of the whole, when everything came to light with Paterno and all them. I don't want to talk about that. But that year, when they started out, McGloin was like the starter, and they had, I forget the other kid's name, they had like sub packages for him because he couldn't pass the ball to save his life. And I'm like, but why are we doing this? And I was like, why are we doing these things? But yeah, I get it. Like, I know a lot of people are going to say, they're doing it to make Deion happy, publicity. Yeah, but the guys, like Dustin said, the guys both came to Colorado and made history.
Yeah.
So, now, if Shiloh Sanders gets his jersey retired, then we got a problem.
Big problem.
For the worst tackling safety I've ever seen in my life. Told you, I watched like 2 running backs last 2 weeks ago watching them play Colorado, and Shiloh Sanders big.
He doesn't want to get hit.
Well, he's playing the wrong position for that.
He picked a great position.
Oh, why is this now torturing me with ex-Penn State quarterback?
Come on, Swirly.
Hey, man.
You had Garrett Venuto. You had Shane McGregor.
Okay, you guys are finishing this show. I'm out of here. I don't want to. I don't want to suffer through for Penn State quarterback purgatory again, like I had to for all those years. I waited all those years to get Drew Aller. Back to Clinton. I like Trace. Trace was a gamer. He had a talented roster around him too. Saquon was there. Deshaun Hamilton. I think. Was Chris Godwin still there? Did Godwin already leave? I can't remember. I know Hackenberg had Godwin. I can't remember if Trace had him for a year. But Trace or Frymuth. Frymuth had to be there with Trace.
Frymuth.
I love Pat Frymuth. We're tight end. Look, we're tight end you. I don't care. If you want a decent defensive player or a top tier tight end or some good running backs, we got you covered.
I can't.
Wide receivers?
I'd say you're tight end. I got to go with Iowa on that one.
Okay, that's also
TJ Hawkinson, Sam Laporta. I mean, George Kittle came out of that state. Anything in Iowa's tight end. You.
Okay, that's fair enough. Penn State's a close second.
Yeah.
I mean, Gesicki, Fryermuth. They're gonna have. Who's the other? Oh, what's the other kid that's at Jacksonville? I know he hasn't played much in the NFL yet. Theo Johnson with the Giants, but Theo Johnson is not succeeding in the Giants. He ain't succeeding with the Giants, so you may want to trade him. All right, Clint. Yeah, to be fair, Trace McSorley was the starting quarterback when Penn State beat Ohio State, but it was not because of Trace McSorley.
Hey, just retire his jersey for that.
Why not?
Was he the last quarterback to beat Ohio State?
Oh, dear God. He is back on the coaching staff, too, over at Penn State, so maybe he could teach Drew a thing or two.
He'll suit up next year. He'll be Drew's backup.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I don't know where this conversation went completely off the rail. Somehow this is draft week, and we're talking about Trace McSorley. Oh, dear. But all right, since I want to just before we completely move on, I do just want to read off the poll question from yesterday in terms of the quarterback situation. So to answer the poll question this week, how many quarterbacks go in round 1? 35% of the voters said 4. The lead voter was 3 with 41%. Facebook's poll question menu drop down stuck. 19% of the voters said 2, and then we had 1 vote for 1. We did have somebody vote for just Cam Ward, and that's it.
How do you know it was Cam Ward?
Yeah.
Fair point. Very fair point. But, anywho, all right, Tyler, do we want to pull up our Mock draft, real quick.
I suppose.
Alrighty. Yeah, we'll get into some other draft. Since we're only doing the first round, we'll do some draft prospects after because I have a bunch of guys that are not first round picks. But oh god, I did too much film study over this week. All right. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to do a nice little quick live mock draft for the entire first round. So for anybody who's watching, if we pissed you off with our draft selections, well, we're sorry. Sorry, Abdul Carter's going to fall to the Eagles at 32. Just so you know. Spoiler alert. Not really. All right, I'm gonna,
GM's pockets if that happens.
What'd you say?
Check the GM's pockets if that happens.
Oh, God. All right, so I'm going to set one up as well on mine so I can keep track of what we're doing.
Yeah, I'll get a share screen in a second.
All right. Yeah, let's get set up here real fast.
So I did a mock draft just for the Bears before we did this.
Okay.
And I ended up making a trade where I ended up trading number 41 and acquired like 6 additional picks from Cleveland. All of the Bears picks ended up being A's, with the low grade being a B plus with what I took.
Wow.
I did a mock with the Eagles the other day, and I literally had all A pluses except for taking Jalen Reed out of Penn State.
So that was the one where Abdul Carter fell to 10, so I took him at 10. And then I traded away the Bears' second round pick, and I ended up getting Trevion Henderson like 3 picks later. And I took an offensive lineman out of Oregon right after that. I'm like, if that's the first 3 picks, Chicago fans will be happy.
All right, Tyler, you got everything selected?
All right, yep, everything's selected.
All right. So this is basically the 3 of us putting our GM caps on and helping out all 32 teams, even though we don't want to.
So do we want to do this where each of us goes like pick 1, pick 2, pick 3, then 4, 5, 6?
Oh, so we each make a pick for a team?
Because I feel like at some point we're going to get some mixed opinions and have a tough time picking a choice.
Okay, well, Anthony said he's picking Washington.
All right, you can pick Washington, Anthony.
Okay, Anthony. All right, well, you know what? In honor, I think, can I be real? Can we please disqualify number 1?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Come on. It's going to be Kyle McCord. We know it.
Bet. Where's Kyle McCord? Oh, God.
Probably right under Will Howard.
It's going to take a while. All right. Campbell. Oh, I forgot I got to start the time. There we go. On the clock. All right. Number 2, Dustin, you're on the board.
I do think Abdul Carter is going to.
Carter?
I think they want to pair him with Myles Garrett.
That would be scary if they pair him with Myles Garrett. It really would. All right. Sam, you want me to go next?
Hey, you want to go to the Giants? Go right ahead.
All right. Oh, Giants. Oh, man. This is the one where I was very controversial over. Because Abdul Carter was a really good prospect that I thought that they would take. But if Cleveland does get him, I still don't know if they're fully sold on Shedeur Sanders. I just saw a report come out today. They're not sure. The whole front office is like half and half on him. I think that's tough. It's between Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. Damn. Sam, I might throw this one to you.
You know they're if he's there.
Yeah, if Hunter's there. If Hunter's there, they'll take a Hunter. They can't pass him up.
Yeah,
you can't.
Too good of a prospect.
After watching Hard Knocks last year and the amount of shit that GM took for trading away Barkley, if he passes on Travis Hunter at 3, he's not even making it on a draft weekend with a job.
If Hunter's on your board and he doesn't get taken by Cleveland, they got to go.
If he doesn't take Travis Hunter, they're not making it past. He's not getting invited to the next day.
He won't have a job at the end of the day. Yeah.
They're kicking him out the room. All right.
So is this what? Am I doing the Patriots?
Yeah, this one's all you.
All right. So I'm trying to be realistic about some things. Let's be real. No draft is ever how we think it's going to go. Somebody ends up doing something, right? Like last year, Tyler, we were adamant that Dallas Turner was going to Atlanta.
Yep.
So, I understand Patriot fans is like, okay, we need a weapon. They are not taking a running back in round one. Look, you're not taking Tet McMillan at 4.
Nope, they need somebody to block.
Yes. So, I'm going to go with the first wrench in this whole thing because for some reason, I just don't think that they are going. I don't think they're going to take Will Campbell at 4.
That's who I haven't taken.
I don't. I think they're going to take the kid out of Missouri.
I have him going 7 to the Jets. That's
I think they're going to take Armin Membo.
Membo.
Yeah, I could see it
because he's an athletic freak, and I think they may. And I'm not personally. If you can block in the SEC, I don't care how long your arms are. Okay, let me just say that right now. I don't care if you can block in the SEC. You can block in the SEC.
The thing is, I've been hearing all the offensive line prospects I've been looking at. All I hear is their arms are shorter than the average. Arms are shorter than the average. I'm like, okay, so you tell me all these kids can't play football at a high level? Like, come on. I get it. It's one of your metrics you look at, but like, take it with a grain of salt.
Fair point.
All right. Dustin, you're back on the board.
Yeah, Jacksonville needs help a lot of places, but interior defensive line is where they need the most help. Mason Graham at 5.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of mock drafts.
Agree.
Mason Graham to Jacksonville. All right. Las Vegas Raiders. They're usually a team.
The one that's highlighted orange is the only one that makes sense.
Yeah, they go with their gut all the time. And it doesn't always work out for them, but I think this time around, Ashton Genty, it's going to work out for him.
I'm not going to lie, though. I know it would be hard to figure it out. I know Ashton Genty is clearly the pick, but could you imagine that double tight end set with Brock Powers and Tyler freaking?
They can all. I mean, yeah, I get it.
Well, the problem is they still have Max Mayer.
Yeah, they could.
Max Mayer is their red zone tight end.
Yeah, they can still use.
He's getting down at some point over this weekend.
Do you think so?
Carroll loves him. They compared him to Luke Wilson when Luke Wilson was running the double tight end set in Seattle. Carroll loves him.
Yeah, I bet if you think about it, yeah, Pete Carroll used to love them double tight end sets. I think he's gonna.
You had Jimmy Graham and Luke Wilson, and then you had Noah Fant and Luke Wilson.
Yep. Yeah, I think the double tight end will help out Geno a lot there. All right, New York Jets on the clock. Who are we taking?
Oh,
now here's a team.
This is where I had Membo going this year.
They could go a couple different places. But I definitely think they want to clean up that offensive line.
Yeah, this is where I had Membo going.
So we'll go Campbell here.
That's what I would do, yeah.
Is that your pick, Campbell? Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Outside of that, there's some other good offensive tackles. But if Will Campbell's on the board for them, they're taking Campbell.
It's going to be either it's going to be who's on the board, Membo or Campbell. It's not going to be Banks is not going that high.
Yeah, because Aaron Glenn's the head coach. He knows the value of an offensive line. He's going offensive line regardless even if Travis Hunter was sitting there, I think Aaron Glenn would go offensive line because he knows the value of the offensive line.
Oh yeah. All right. Dustin back on the clock.
I'm gonna do 8 and 10 since I got to do stuff for the Bears anyways. So I'm gonna do 8 if you guys are fine with that.
Yeah.
Go right ahead, brother.
So 8 is Carolina. What was their biggest weakness last year?
Everything.
They were wrestling
quarterback.
What was their biggest weakness last year?
I think rushing the quarterback.
Secondary. They were ranked 30th in the NFL in secondary. Go get Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan.
Thank you.
Okay.
He's not the most athletic cornerback. He's not the biggest cornerback, but he is a ball hawk and a playmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let I know he had like a little bit of an up and down year this past year, but he was limited to only 6 games due to injury.
Yeah.
That turf toe injury held him out most of the year. And try playing corner with turf toe. That must be real fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The kid's a stud. And I'm glad I'm not the only one that knows it.
So, the Saints, it's an obvious pick. They're going with Tet McMillan. They're just got a bunch of wide receivers and no one to throw the football to.
No, they want a wide receiver that can only run slants.
Yeah. No, but this is what the Saints wish the draft will pan out like.
I think
because
it will.
I think it will too. Because I don't see Shadur going to the Bears or Giants. Not Bears, Browns or Giants.
Yeah.
And aside from that, New Orleans is the only other team that needs a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Not just future needs, right now needs a quarterback. Yeah. All right. A lot of options here, number 10.
Yeah, Dustin. This is where things get interesting. Tyler Warren would look good in Chicago. Kelvin Banks, offensive line, would look good. But why not give Chicago Jalen Walker?
Ooh, that's what I was thinking. Jalen Walker. That'd be
Sweat.
Oh, man.
And the guy they got out of the Colts that I can never pronounce his last name. Odewingbo. The guy they got out of the Colts who had like 7 sacks last year.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name either. But yeah, Jalen Walker. Like you said, pick your poison. If you want to go
to the next Cameron for Dennis Allen.
Now Walker's like this weird, twitchy player that he could be an edge rusher. He could play off the ball, so it brings you some versatility there.
Yeah.
So. All right, who's doing San? Am I doing San Fran?
I'm doing San Fran.
You gotta go on. Take us off, Sam.
All right, so they're not going to take the fact that Tyler Warren's still on the board here is concerning because the team after this kind of really kind of.
Yeah. I have Tyler Warren going further down the way you think, but you'll see the fit when he gets there. He's still there.
All right, so I don't think McMillan is a wide receiver that the Niners like. I don't think they view him as the Debo replacement. Nor do I think Tet McMillan is. I'm not that big on McMillan. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not very big on him. So Banks makes a lot of sense. Kyle, go down a little bit so I can look at what else we have here. Banks makes a lot of sense.
Filter at all?
What's that?
Want me to filter by position?
No, I can do this. I can do this from that. All right.
Okay, this one, man. I think they want to go secondary.
I have the Niners. I have the Niners going Banks. Offensive line help is what they're going to want. After the injuries they sustained last year, they're going to want offensive line depth.
Yeah. You don't think they could use another edge rusher to help out Bosa?
No, I think they're going to go offensive line because Kyle Shanahan knows how beat up that offense was last year without the offensive line.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I think we're going to have to go Kelvin Banks here.
Banks. All right.
Please, somebody else do Dallas. Don't make me do it.
I'll
take Dallas.
Yes, please.
That's where I have McMillan going.
Oh man.
CeeDee Lamb needs another wide receiver. Whether McMillan is the answer or not, CeeDee Lamb needs a number 2.
You could have made the case for 3 different players there. You could have made the case for McMillan, Warren, or Hampton, the running back for North Carolina. They just need another offensive weapon in general.
They do.
They're the ones that I think, if the first trade is made, they're the ones that I think will make the first trade to try to get Genty. If there's a way they could do it to either take the Raiders pick at 6 or somehow get to number 5 with Jacksonville, they're the first team that I think would trade to try to get Genty. Because they do not have a running back, and there's not too many Genties that come around in the draft every year.
Yeah,
you're telling me that Miles Sanders isn't
okay, Sam.
Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. Yeah, that sounds like a great combo.
That sounds terrifying.
Genty might have more yards than both of them combined.
All right, who's next? We got Miami.
I'll take Miami. All right. Miami.
I'm just going to point out something. Somebody's being brought up to be traded soon, so think about that.
But do you think they pull the trigger and try to draft replacement?
Not on draft night, no.
I don't think they address that tonight.
Because you see how good the team is when Tua is healthy. As long as Tua is healthy, they're going to roll with Waddle and Hill until something happens.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think they address it night one. What I do think they do is shore up their secondary for the future a little bit. Yep. I think they go Jahdae Barron.
That's who I have taken them.
That's what I was talking about. Did you not literally see that Jalen Ramsey is being brought up in trade talks last week?
We thought you were talking about Tyreek Hill, both of us.
Yeah, I thought
we both thought you were talking about Tyreek Hill.
That's what I thought too, Tyreek Hill.
No, Jalen Ramsey literally both sides are looking for trade options. No one wasn't talking about Tyreek Hill.
Oh, okay.
Well, either way, that's what I would take too. Tyler is the guy that you took.
All right. Well, we're on the same page.
That's where I was going.
No, Sam, you're wrong.
You would have fired me for no reason.
All right. You're on the board, Sam. What you got?
Stop it. Look, you guys need... The Colts are just a joke. He has been on the damn board too long. They need some... Tyler Warren.
That's who I have the Colts taking in my mock draft. Was Tyler
because
Warren.
If Warren's gone already, I see them taking Loveland.
Yeah, I had the Colts taking Tyler Warren because it was more of a best player available, but it was also a position of need.
Hold on. I want to respond to this with George. George, they'll have a healthy Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall. They're not going to go wide receiver.
And
why? Exactly. And why on earth would they go with Colston Loveland when they cannot block to save their life? Why? I love Colston Loveland. Don't get me wrong. Dude's a stud. But the Niners need an offensive lineman badly. Okay.
All right. Atlanta. Dustin, you're back on the clock.
The next two picks I have the next two picks when I did my mock draft, I did them for the same position, so it was kind of a coin flip either way you could look at it because both teams need the same need. Go Michael Williams to Atlanta to address the pass rush, who was ranked dead last in the NFL in sacks last year.
Yeah. Dead last, not a good spot to be in.
Matthew Judon did not help with that.
Not at all.
He was the only one that had 5 sacks.
Fair point. And then I'm assuming Arizona's going to go Mike Green.
That's what I had, yeah. Same reason because Arizona, I think, was 30th in the NFL in sacks last year.
But hear me out.
What
if they just accept their fate as not being that good against the pass rush, and they pair Matthew Golden with McBride and oh my gosh, why am I blanking on him?
Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Yes. Harrison Jr., yes.
Because they have a defensive-minded head coach.
That is a good point, too.
But that was in Philadelphia.
But he's also a boneheaded defensive head coach.
But to be fair, Tyler, the Eagles have one of the most historic pass rushes in the NFL when he was here.
True.
Not to mention, they've already spent big money on Josh Sweat. So you put Mike Green on the other side of that, and they brought back Calais Campbell, and they brought in Dalvin Tomlinson to help against the run. So clearly loading up on their front is something they're focused on.
That's the main reason why Josh Sweat went. That's the main reason why Josh Sweat went to Arizona, because he said he wanted to play for Gannon.
That and Gannon's team is probably the only team dumb enough to give him that money.
Yeah, that too. But
look, let me just say this before we continue. I love him. Great Super Bowl game. People need to humble themselves and remember who Josh Sweat is. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. I love Sweat. Don't get me wrong. But this is not prime Lawrence Taylor we're talking about. All right, so am I doing the Bengals?
Yes, you get the Bengals. If you say anything on offense, I don't think you watched Cincinnati last year.
This is real simple. Yeah, offensive line.
Would you like me to toggle its offensive line?
I don't even have him taking offensive line.
Really?
I have. I have them going Tyler, their defense is absolute dog shit.
It is terrible.
I haven't gone defense.
So I have them going because I'm going to go Jahad Campbell here.
Yeah, I think Campbell.
I had Jahad Campbell going to Tampa.
Ooh. Who do you think that they would have? Who do you think the Bengals would have?
I had Shamar Stewart going from Texas A&M going to Cincy.
Okay.
So horse.
Fair point.
That's a 2-pick difference. So either way, it's the same position.
Oh, Seattle.
Seattle needs offensive line. Josh Simmons.
Yep.
That's a steal.
I mean, it seems like if you look in base where he's ranked, it's a little bit of a reach, but Josh Simmons is a legitimate player.
That's not a reach. It's a reach because he got hurt.
And because he didn't test very good at the combine.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's why he fell. That's why he fell. It isn't because of his ability.
The guy
tested bad.
Look, I don't care how he tested. You can block in the Big Ten or the SEC. You can play. I don't care what the combine says. And plus, he was just removed from that knee injury. So
and your quarterback is Sam Darnold. You see what happens when Darnold does not have protection. So yeah, you better be going Josh Simmons if he's there.
It's such a good damn pick there. All right, Tampa's kind of.
Tampa's interesting.
Yeah, you can go a couple ways here with Tampa.
Defensive-minded head coach, remember that.
Yeah. I think Tampa.
Go Stewart here.
I mean, if he's left since I went I had them taking Jihad Campbell, so yeah, that's where I would have had Stewart going otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, they added Reddick in free agency, but that's really all they've done.
Yeah, they don't have like that legitimate game-changing pass rusher. They have guys up on the defensive line that can get to the quarterback, but they don't have that explosive edge.
Stewart would make a lot of Stewart makes a lot of sense here.
I could also see them going with one of the two safeties between Starks and Amanwari.
I could have thought it too, but if you know anything in the NFL, how do you win? You got to get to the quarterback.
Yep. Look at how Tampa Bay beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. They got to the quarterback.
Look how we beat them in the Super Bowl. We demolished the quarterback.
Got to the quarterback.
Just demolished them. All right, so am I up here? Am I doing Denver?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, see, both of those top names make sense here.
More weapons. I kind of like Loveland here better than Golden.
Yep, that's where I do too. Sean Payton likes his big tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you right now, my favorite wide receiver is still on the board, and it's not Matthew Golden.
Really?
My favorite wide receiver in this draft. My wide receiver in this draft is Ibuka from Ohio State.
Okay.
I love the kid. The kid is just—he's not flashy. He's just him. Whatever you need him to do, he does. Oh God, Pittsburgh. Yeah, someone else do Pittsburgh.
It's my turn, I guess, to do Pittsburgh. Yay, me. If you're trying to get Aaron Rodgers, what are you trying to do? Get as many weapons as possible. You have DK. You have George Pickens. Go get Matthew Golden. The one thing that he does better than the other two, he knows how to run a freaking route.
Yeah, you need at least one of those.
Run 50, 60 yards downfield and throw it as much as Matthew Golden can at least run routes.
Yeah, you can't just run 4 verts all game.
I agree with George says right here. Because you don't test at the combine doesn't mean squat.
Yeah.
No, that's 100% right. But how many GMs look? Not necessarily GMs. How many draft scouts look at that? Every time you see a player test really well at the combine, all of a sudden their draft stock shoots way up. Example: Mitch Trubisky. All of a sudden you test very poorly at the combine, your draft stock goes way down.
Yep.
So wait, who did you? Wait, so you took Golden to Pittsburgh. You don't think they go Jackson Dart?
Nope, because I think if they go Jackson Dart, they trade back in later. This is a position where if you're still hoping to get Aaron Rodgers, you need to give Aaron Rodgers that route running wide receiver.
Yeah, I think Dart continues to fall here.
Is your route running wide receiver that the Steelers don't have right now.
Okay.
He would essentially be like, if you're looking at the way the Steelers' offense is right now, DK Metcalf is like the Garrett Wilson, where he's your deep ball threat. You throw it as far as you can throw it. George Pickens would be like the vintage Greg Jennings, where you basically throw it far and hope he goes again and gets it. And then Golden would be like your James Jones, like your possession receiver, your route running receiver, where if you need a clutch catch, that's who you go to.
Okay. So Tyler, are you doing the Chargers?
I'll do the Chargers.
You better do what's the best offensive weapon available? That's not a running back.
Oh, I didn't even go offense for them.
I don't even want to go best offensive player. I want to take it over to the interior line.
Ooh, okay.
I think this makes the most sense for them because there are still good playmakers in the second round. And what do they pick? They pick 55 in the second round?
Yeah.
I think they could easily get a good quality running back, which I think they'll either go that or wide receiver in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Because Harbaugh loves to run the football. The Chargers actually were playing better before J.K. Dobbins got hurt. When he got hurt, it really hampered their ability to run the football.
You could still make the case they bring him back.
Mm-hmm. They could still bring him back. That is true. So if they decide to bring him back, maybe they do go wide receiver on day 2.
Okay.
Or maybe they go with one of these guys who falls down to 55. But I think at 22, I think they go with Gray Zabel from North Dakota State.
I had them taking Malachi Starks.
Oh man.
Who do they have at safety next to Derwin James? Here's their safeties next to Derwin James: Alohi Gilman, Justin Jefferson, and Nazir Adderley.
Yeah,
that is a fair point.
3 guys that have 9 combined starts in 10 combined NFL.
But this is such a heavy, talented defensive draft that again you can make the case. Now don't get me wrong, the safeties, there's a drop off in safeties after round 1 and round 2, but that Chargers offense needs help, and he needs help in a lot of areas.
They do. Guys, Malachi Starks, if he's sitting there, I think it's more of like a best player available. And it's hard to pass up. Kind of like when the Eagles got Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. Cooper DeJean was a first-round talent that fell to the second round. And even if a team did not need a safety, somebody was going to take Cooper DeJean in the second round and be like, oh, we'll find the place for him because he's here.
Yeah.
We literally had him. We did a mock draft last year, and we had him at 22 because Mitchell went at like 15.
Yep.
So the fact that they walked out of that draft with both of them still is remarkable. But all right, Tyler. So have you made your pick for the Chargers?
Almost.
He said Zabel, I think.
I still want to go with Zabel. So I think they gotta not only get some better run block protection, they need to protect Herbert more as well.
Dustin has triggered George. Forget the Aaron Rodgers crap. He's not getting the money he wants.
They still might. Like I said, I could see them trading back in around 28, 29 to get Jackson Dart. They still might, but you still have to, as long as Aaron Rodgers is still out there, as long as you're still talking with him, and as long as he's still thinking about joining your franchise, the one thing Green Bay failed to do for him his final years was get him legitimate weapons on the offense. Like every year he was asking the Packers to draft a wide receiver. They passed on Justin Jefferson. They passed on another good receiver the year before that, and then they passed on another good receiver the year after Justin Jefferson. Like, if your plan is to try to get him, you need to get him another wide receiver to set him up with Freiermuth, Metcalf, Pickens, Golden, and then your running back, which is right now Jaron Warren right now, unless you get another one. Until he makes up his mind who he's going to play for, you have to plan that you have a shot at him, and the only way to get him is give him as many offensive weapons as possible.
I'm going to ask if it's okay. Can I do Houston in 3 picks?
No.
You want me to take the next 2?
I mean, unless we all want to split the next 3.
I mean, because I got Minnesota. Minnesota's my team anyway, so that would have been my.
Yeah, I was like, you go. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll take Green Bay, Minnesota, since I live in Wisconsin anyways. I hear enough of the Packers shit as it is every day. Packers need defensive help. Any way you look at it, anywhere you want to put it, you can say linebacker, you can say defensive line, you can say secondary. I got the Packers taking Derek Harmon.
I like that. Beefing up that interior.
If Starks is still here, I'm taking Starks. But if he's not here, which I didn't have him here, I'm giving Minnesota Nick Eminori from South Carolina.
Ooh, okay.
That's their safety of the future once Harrison Smith leaves.
I like that fit. All right. Houston, this is easy. Their offensive line last year was one of the worst I've ever seen. Kyler, shoot me over to the interior offensive lineman, please. And please, I understand that, like I said, offensive line moves in the first round are always weird. Something always happens that is not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Tyler Booker, but because I like his versatility, I'm going to give them Donovan Jackson.
Damn. I went defense in my mock draft for Houston.
Dude, they got to protect C.J. Stroud. I cannot stand watching him run for his life.
They do, but I gave the Texans Kenneth Grant.
Ooh.
It's not a bad pick either.
Because
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans likes to load up on defense, and like there's a lot of talented offensive linemen. Like even the guy that you just took, if he's still sitting there around pick 38, Houston will probably trade up to get him anyways. There's so many like offensive linemen that they can get in the second round where Kenneth Grant sits there at 25. You're not getting him when you pick again in round 2.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler, you want to do the Rams?
Oh man, the Rams.
You do go a couple places here.
Oh jeez. Honestly, they do have a lot of needs. You could go anywhere. What if this is the team that finally takes Jackson Dart and preps him behind Stafford?
Well, they got Jimmy G though.
Forget Jimmy G. He could be cut.
No, but they brought Jimmy G.
He could be a placeholder.
You know what? He can learn from Jimmy G and Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and become the league's next best
player. That is a good pick, but I don't know if the Rams would do that in round 1.
Yeah, it's tough because, I mean, we saw the Packers do the similar thing with Love towards the end of the first round when they had Rodgers. It's something that they definitely have to think about in the future because you don't know how much more you're going to get out of Stafford. And Jimmy G, he's a cool backup, but, like, he's not the future of anything.
Please, somebody look at George's comment about Aaron Rodgers.
I just saw that. For one, he is not going to get a woman because women can't stand him. He's an a-hole, and let me tell you why he's such an a-hole and why I can't stand him. We live so close to Green Bay that we can go to any Packer practice that we want to go to. And every Packer practice, you have the Packers come out on the bikes, and they're doing this and this. My son, who's 11 now, was 6 years old at the time, asked Aaron Rodgers for an autograph, and he said, you only get an autograph for $200. You can F yourself as an NFL player if you're charging a kid $200 for an autograph.
That's crazy. Oh, man.
My God, that's brutal.
And every other player that was there gave him an autograph. The only one that didn't was him, because I don't have $200 to give him, and I'm not going to give him $200 for an autograph. That's ridiculous. You're an athlete; like you should be honored that kids want your autograph.
Yep, it's got a big ego. That's what it is.
Totally know that.
But I want to go. I actually hope to see Jackson Dart get drafted by a team that he can learn behind. Like, not even just because obviously it's not starting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a great situation for a guy to go in and learn behind veterans, proven veterans, learn the system. I think that could be special if they pick him.
All right, so
they
could have used a Kenneth Grant, though, I'll be honest.
Yeah. So for the Rams, I actually had the Rams going defense. I had the Rams going James Pierce.
James Pierce
from Tennessee to pair him with the guy they got out of Florida State last year who got the Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Ooh.
Oh,
But don't they? What's that? The other guy that had a really good year next to him too. Another rookie. Is he an edge rusher? Or is he an interior?
So Jared versus an edge rusher.
Yeah,
The other guy's a middle linebacker.
Oh, he's middle
And
linebacker.
James appears to be the opposing edge rusher to Verse.
Okay.
yeah, because Braden Fisk is more of like they're a defensive end. They're 3-4 or whatever they run.
Then
Gotcha.
you would have Pierce with Verse.
Honestly, you know who? Kenneth Grant would have made a lot of sense for the Rams because honestly, they got a lot of solid pass rushers. They can't stop the run for shit.
Mm-hmm. And trust me, if they go up against the Eagles again, which they might face them in the playoffs, if they don't address the run stopping, they're screwed.
Yep.
There's a lot of teams that you could say that for. The Lions would be another one. Lions will probably just run right through them too.
All right, so who we got next? Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yep, Baltimore's on the clock.
I think honestly, I hate to say it, this to me seems like Malachi Starks.
If he's there, I would take him. I had the
We're gonna take him.
Yeah, I had the Ravens taking Gray Zebel.
They did the same. They did the same shit with freaking Hamilton. They cut Marcus Williams, add Starks to that secondary, and doing Detroit's gonna hurt me too. It's gonna hurt me, Tyler. I'm sorry.
I know who you're thinking right now.
I think Detroit's gonna go Pierce here.
Pierce? I was actually thinking Donovan Ezraku.
That's who I had.
Right.
But I know Sam. There's a part of Sam that kind of wants him to fall to the Eagles.
Mizrachi.
Actually, if the board's falling like this, I'm not taking Ezraku at 32.
Well, exactly. If Pierce is still there, yeah, I'll take Pierce over Ezrachi, but I didn't have Pierce there. That's why I took
I'm saying right now. Or right now for the Lions.
Pierce.
Yeah.
We'll go Pierce.
They're going to go Pierce.
On Pierce.
All right. Anthony said he wants to do Washington. Right, so Anthony, if you're Anthony, who do you want? Are you still with us?
The player that I have Washington taking still up there too, so let's see what he does.
Kenneth Grant makes some sense because they couldn't stop the run either last year.
Nope.
Yeah.
But I had fun with this pick a little bit because I thought of what could become of it.
Another thing, I will just give my opinion. I'm cool with, honestly, I know he probably won't even be there. Hampton isn't the worst idea because I'm sorry, I don't trust anything that has to do with their run game.
That's who I had to Washington taking was Amarion Hampton.
You did? Because I think Eckler's getting up there in age. I don't know how much I trust Robinson.
Yep.
Anthony's taking Ezraku, you bastard.
Ooh, okay. The other option I had for Washington too was Egbuka.
Yeah. Well, Anthony said he had. I didn't even put the comment on. My mistake. Sorry, Anthony.
I took a safety with Minnesota. That's who Anthony wanted was the safety.
Yeah, he wanted Eamon Ward. God darn it.
He's gonna settle for Ezraku out of Boston College, which is still a good pick.
Here's another thing to look at. I know he was only a rotational player. They also lost Dante Fowler, who had 10 sacks for them last year, and they lost Jonathan Allen and replaced him with Javon Kinlaw. I'm not trying to sound like a Debbie Downer. I don't know how much of an upgrade that is.
Right.
Buffalo is an interesting team.
I go Walter Nolan.
Yeah, they need help on that defensive front.
Hold on.
I feel like they still need.
Have a good night, guys.
They still need weapons.
Have a good night, guys. It's over.
They still need weapons on offense, though, because clearly we saw they still couldn't get it done.
Hey, if Sam wants Walter Nolan for Philly, my other option.
No. Oh no, I'm not gonna just try to talk my way out of someone not. If that's where you think they'll go, then feel free. I have options still. Just damn that hurt. I was so close.
You know what? Let's switch it. I'm not gonna go Walter Nolan. I'm gonna get interesting with this one. Let's go Luther Burden.
Ooh, Luther Burden. What makes you choose him over Egbuka?
Egbuka is very similar to Amari Cooper. He's very similar to Dalton Kincaid, and he's very similar to Keon Coleman. Luther Burden is the exact opposite of that. Luther Burden is what Stephon Diggs was in his prime with Buffalo. An open space, get the ball in your hand, make guys miss type of playmaker.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Just go offensive line. Look at every offensive line piece.
Yeah, let's see. Tyler Booker, honestly, Connerly.
Yep.
Because
they
don't
left
need
tackle.
just any. They need a tackle.
Yep.
Specifically left tackle.
I had him going Booker only because I had the Bears getting Conley in round 2, but Conley just because of the tackle.
Yeah, I definitely think they go with Connerly. They have to. Now this is interesting.
No, it's not.
All right, Sam. We know. We get it. We know who you want.
Okay, well...
Evaluate some other options for us here.
Okay, well, clearly the first thing we have to think about is the Philadelphia Eagles at number 32. It has to be defense, right? I know the offensive line could use another interior guy. Hi, I have Jeff Stoutland. I'm going to go find a minor league baseball player who played left field and turn him into a right guard. That's what we do over here.
Yeah.
So, and that guy that you're, hold on, go back up.
This guy,
Jackson Slater. That is a name on my board of prospects that are sleepers.
Okay.
So you can definitely, don't get me wrong, Tyler Booker here. I mean, I would love it, but this team has lost so much on the defensive side of the football. So I mean, Tyler, just do me a favor, switch over to safeties real quick, because clearly. I know a lot of Eagle fans want Starks. This is a little too early for Xavier Watts for me.
Yeah.
I love Watts as a playmaker. The kid takes the football away. He could not tackle you, me, or Dustin. He is he's not a good tackler. He's got a lot of inconsistencies with it. So that is, don't get me wrong. I think in a Fangio scheme, he fits better because he could play like that CJ role where he just takes the ball away in that center field role. Mm-hmm. But if you look, there's still Andrew Nakuba, Kevin Winston.
Yep.
There's still guys there's later round picks that I have that I like. Malachi Moore, Jalen Reed. There's still a lot of very solid safeties in this draft in the middle round. So I'm not going there. You could, now, Tyler, go over to corner real quick.
Corner.
There's some names here that make a lot of sense. Maxwell Harrison out of Kentucky. A lot of teams like him. He's tested out pretty well at the combine. Trey Amos is a guy I keep hearing about to the Eagles. Apparently, they would not mind trying to solidify that secondary with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and maybe another guy outside. That'll tell you what they think about Keely Ringo. And no, I don't think Adoree Jackson would make the team at this point if that was the case.
Yeah.
However, if you just go back to interior defensive linemen, and there's just, and I know they need an edge rusher too. There is still a boatload of edge rushers that are going to be available in round 2. The 2 guys at the top are all you need to know. Now, there's a lot of good guys after. I mean, T.J. Sanders, he is a pass rush. He would probably fit the Milton Williams role.
Yeah. But then again, I feel like if we take Walter Nolan here, it's not going to be the last defensive lineman that you see them take.
Walter Nolan gives you one of the most unfair defensive lines in football next year with Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Walter Nolan, Moro Ojomo. That is Walter Nolan is there have been small character concerns with him. Now, apparently a lot of those came at Texas A&M, where he was prior. He then transferred this past year to Ole Miss. Ole Miss loved him.
Okay.
Kenneth Grant, if they drafted Kenneth Grant here, that would tell you what they think about Jordan Davis, in my opinion, because Grant's more of a nose tackle. He was the nose tackle to what Mason Graham was in Michigan. So I think Grant actually could have some solid production as a pass rusher one day. He needs a little bit of work with it, but they're looking for a all-around pass rush first, lighter D tackle. The pick's got to be Walter Nolan.
Yeah, I agree.
I honestly did not have Philly making this pick in my mock.
I don't think they're staying at 32 either.
This is where I had Jackson Dart going.
Ah.
I had Pittsburgh giving up their third and their fourth and a pick next year to get Jackson Dart.
Ooh. And I mean, hey, Howie's going to listen to it.
Because the Giants, I believe, are picking number 2 or number 3 in the second round, where if Jackson Dart is still there, that's who the Giants would take on day 2. So to ensure that doesn't happen, Pittsburgh makes the trade with Philly to jump into 32, and they take Jackson Dart like the Vikings did with Bridgewater.
Yep. So let's say Cleveland doesn't pursue Kirk Cousins, and they're not fully sold on Joe Flacco. Do the Browns are another team to possibly trade in at 32?
Nope, because the Browns would take Milroe right away on day 2.
Okay.
If Jackson Dart goes 32 to Pittsburgh, Cleveland would take Milroe right away on day 2.
But do you think Cleveland would try to get to 32 before Pittsburgh?
Not necessarily, just because I think Stefanski trusts Flacco enough just because he's worked with him. And if they're going to try to pursue Cousins, it's not going to be a thing until after June 1st. That's another scenario where if you get him, you're confident in Flacco, you're confident in Cousins versus it seems like nobody in that organization is confident in Deshaun Watson anymore. So, I mean, if you got a guy like Milroe sitting there at 34, you take Milroe and you figure it out later.
Okay, that's valid. Yeah.
I'll disagree with it.
Put pressure on Milroe to succeed right away.
He probably wouldn't start for the first 2 years, in my opinion, if he went to Cleveland, realistically. Because even if they trade for Cousins has 2 years left. Well, he's got 3 years left of his deal, but it's only 2 years that are guaranteed. That fourth year is a void year. So if you trade for Cousins and you still draft Milroe's sitting for 2 years until Cousins' contract plays out.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm fine with that. I still think it's valuable to have these guys sit and learn for a year, maybe 2.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we were only doing a first round, but I mean, look at the amount of talent that's still left at defensive tackle after the first round.
I mean, right there with Amari and Hampton, he probably goes to Tennessee with the first pick in the second round. So now you not only not only did you add Cam Ward, but now you just paired Amari and Hampton with Tony Pollard in the backfield.
Yep.
Not to mention, they've made some significant moves on that offensive line with Zeitler. They got the left tackle from Pittsburgh, Moore. They drafted Skornowski a couple years ago. They drafted Latham last year. They signed Cushenberry last year. They've loaded that offensive lineup for that reason. So,
do you think Booker's a good candidate for New York?
Yes.
They need offensive line help.
They still need.
And I'd hate it.
Don't need line help.
Yeah, they need offensive line help. So I mean, Booker solidifies that, and then you go to round 2. Let me see if I can pull up the picks. So it'd be Cleveland. Actually, no. So Cleveland would get the first pick in round 2. So it'd probably be Jalen Milroe at 33. Giants would pick 2 at 34. They'd probably go Booker. Titans would pick 3, Amari and Hampton. Jacksonville, you go with Kenneth Clark. So then you go with Kenneth Clark and the other guy from Michigan that we took in round at number 5. You basically have Michigan's 2 defensive tackles. In the
oh my God!
Raiders not only get Ashton Genty, Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, that would help them out so much. I would actually be confident in the Raiders for the first time in years.
If this is how that board pans out, that's probably how day 2 goes right there.
And then, Tyler, go to wide receivers real quick. And then...
Still got Jaden Higgins.
I don't know if New England... That would be a very interesting draft board if that's how this whole thing fell.
Like if this is how the board goes out and those 5 names are there on day 2, those are going to be the first 5 names gone on day 2. And every team that's picking in that top 5 has a need for one of those players. And every team that is picking further down in round 2, they're going to try to trade up to get one of those 5 players because they can make one of those players work at a certain position.
Yeah. That would be an interesting draft board if that's how it fell.
Oh, yeah.
So Anthony says, I don't know why, but when I see Nick Emenwari, he reminds me of Sean Taylor, the build and the hard hitting.
Which is, who's the defensive coordinator in Minnesota?
Flores.
You give Brian Flores a hard-hitting safety that wants to knock somebody's head off. Sign Brian Flores up to send that guy on all-out blitzes.
Yeah, Emin Worry makes a lot of sense there. He makes a lot of sense in a lot of places, actually. So, all right. That now knocks out the mock draft. That was fun. That was fun. What is this on our screen?
Oh.
A football.
What did you do?
Oh, why is it on? Okay,
there we go. Okay, now you're yeah.
That's not it. Where'd it go?
That's not it. Oh my god, Tyler!
Hold on, where did it go? I'm actually
there you go.
Okay.
Jesus,
that was weird.
At least act like you know what you're doing.
I don't.
Oh,
I don't.
Oh god. All right. Anyway, now that we've knocked out the mock draft, since we only did round one, why don't we take a few minutes here? We could talk about some positions that we do like. Because there's a lot of talent in this draft. Like I said, I don't know how much franchise changing it is, but there's talent in this draft. So, I mean, I figure I think we could easily give 5 at almost any position that we talk about that we like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think quarterbacks were all going to be the same. I think it's going to be Ward, Shedeur, Dart, and probably Milroe. And then the 5th could be a toss-up.
Yeah.
My 5th would be Will Howard.
My 5th would be Jalen Milroe.
Okay, so who would your top 4 be?
Ward, Sanders, Tommy Mellott, and Jackson Dart.
Okay.
I'd have that kid from Louisville show in there in my top 5. And I'd toss in Will Howard over Milroe. I'd put Milroe at 6.
Fair enough. All right. What about let's talk about. Let's get to some positions we'll actually talk about more. Let's go. Let's say offense first. Let's go running back. Can you guys give me a 5 for running back?
Pick your poison.
I mean, Genty obviously head over heels above everybody else.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
And then I think you could say 3 through 4 are probably Trevion, Amari Hampton, and probably
That's
Caleb.
my number 2.
Probably Marion Hampton as your 3, Caleb Johnson as your 4. And then I'm throwing Cam Scadaboo in there.
Yeah.
Me too.
Gotta have Scadaboo in there, man. Honest, my 6th, I would put Dylan Sampson, Tennessee.
I
think
like
he's
him
a good NFL prospect.
You know who I like as an NFL prospect? Damian Martinez, the kid from Miami.
Oh, okay.
Straight power back. Didn't run for a lot of yards in Miami, but Cam Ward did a good job. That offense spaced the ball to anybody.
Yeah. They could.
Like that. So, I mean, but Damian Martinez is a pretty damn solid prospect. But Caleb Johnson, Dylan Sampson, too. I just love Cam Scadaboo so damn much.
And I mean, you also have guys like Kayvon Britton, Targhee Lamson. I mean, they're FCS programs. I watch a lot of FCS. But Kayvon Britton had 1,982 yards rushing last year, 18 touchdowns for Tarleton State. Targhee Lamson from Southern Utah ran for 1921 with 23 touchdowns.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have some guys that in my sleepers. I have Kyle Monangai, the running back from Rutgers. Easily had Rutgers. I love him, dude. I don't know. He's not the most athletic running back. He's not much of a pass catcher. I think his career high at Rutgers was like 14, which was last year. So I don't know if a 3-down back is realistic, and his athleticism isn't great, so that may hinder the ceiling a little. But if you want a guy that is a 5'9", 200-pound truck that will have no issue running your best player over, I love him. Yeah, another guy,
Quinyon Judkins.
Yeah. Junkins makes good sense for a team that either has a RB1 that they want to get some of the load off of, or if they have a running back that is strictly like almost a pass catcher.
Yeah. How about Trevor Etienne, who I always say
I'm not a Trevor Etienne guy.
I don't think he'll be a feature back in the NFL, but I think he can be a very strong second punch to a 1-2 duo.
Maybe. A couple other guys I like over Etienne. I like Jaden Bloom better. The only issue with Jaden Bloom is he has some ball security issues.
Yes, he does.
But I have my last sleeper running back on my list I have is Ollie Gordon from Oklahoma State. If this was 2023, he would have went like top 3 rounds. He had a down year, and he's not like a 50 back. He's a bigger, like 6 foot, 215 plus running back who can catch the football out of the backfield. He only had about 800 yards rushing this past year, but the year prior he had like 1,700 yards and like 23 touchdowns in 2023. Yeah. And this past year, I don't even know how much you could put on him. Oklahoma State had a down year just in general. So, but later round, like maybe even 4th, 5th, maybe 6th, I like Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon's one of my guys. One of my sleeper prospects.
The other one, give me a second to get his name because I always say it wrong, but he's out of the Big Ten. You guys would know it too as soon as I say his name.
God, I'm so mad that Nick Singleton and Kaytron Allen didn't come out of this draft.
I mean, do you see how many backs there are in this draft? I think it works out for him better.
No, I'm not upset about it. I'm not that upset about it. Trust me. Going to have a nice backfield next year.
Maybe he's not in Minnesota anymore. He might have left Minnesota. Oh yeah, he left Minnesota in 2023. Never mind.
Who was it? Who was it?
Mohamed Ibrahim.
I know that. Yeah. A couple names that I also looked at. I looked at DJ Giddens, the kid out of Kansas State. I like him. My issue with him, he doesn't know how to. He struggles putting the ball in the wrong arm. Like he puts the ball in like when he's out on the edge, he doesn't put the ball from his on the right side. He'll literally risk getting stripped. So, but all right, let's move into some wide receivers. I only have 4 wide receivers that I haven't really looked at because outside of like McMillan, Burden, Ibuka, Golden, I don't have much. I don't see a lot of like top tier wide receivers after that. I could be wrong, but
there's a lot of them.
I'll let you master the class of wide receivers then, Dustin.
There's you can start with. I got to pull that list up. So start with who you're going to talk about first, and then I'll.
So I mean, the four that I have is McMillan, Burden, Ibuka, and Golden. I didn't do much wide receiver look this year because I feel like those are McMillan's just the big physical presence that is just going to be that guy. You're going to throw the ball to him, he's going to get it. Burden, like you said, he's the big playmaker out of Missouri. He also had a down year compared to 2023, but again, Missouri's passing offense, really, like we're gonna put that on him. Ibuka is still my favorite wide receiver in this draft. He's just all reliable. Whatever you want from him, he does it. And then Matthew Golden, to me, may have the higher ceiling out of the 4.
He probably does, just because I think he's the best route runner.
Yeah, so. His teammate Isaiah Bond is not anywhere near that. I remember when the people thought Bond was going to be like this top long guy. He knows how to be a deep threat. He doesn't know how to be a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I mean, there's other guys like Trey Harris out of Ole Miss.
Trey Harris is an interesting one.
He had 1,030 yards this past year with 7 touchdowns, but he's another like a big 6'4", 210-pound receiver. So he's a big body receiver, very similar to when AJ Brown was at Ole Miss.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at those big Ole Miss wideouts, man, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. I mean, you can't really go wrong with them.
No, because I mean they catch the ball, they have speed, they know how to high point the football, which is what so many teams look for now on big receivers is that you can catch the contested pass. Jalen Royals is another, I think, day 2, day 3 receiver that could be valuable out of the University of Nevada. Jalen Noel.
Yeah. All my only 2 sleeper wide receivers are probably day 3 guys. Which is Isaiah Bond, like I said, because again, he needs to learn how to be a wide receiver, not just a deep threat. And my other guy easily is going to be a day 3 pick. Can I get some love for Tez Johnson, the kid from Oregon, who just found a way to tear up my defense every time he touched the football in the Big Ten title game?
Watching him play in that game, I was like, this kid's going to be playing on Sundays.
Yep.
I just made it late.
Yeah, and then I think Ty Felton, too, out of Maryland.
Yeah, and another one, people said, he didn't test well at the Combine. I don't care. The guy ripped Tom Allen's defense apart for 4 quarters, which was not easy for a lot of Big Ten teams to do. Even Ohio State had trouble doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like the tight end position, we're all going to have the same guys that we talk about, but, I mean, the guys that I have on my list, of course, Warren, Loveland, they'll be the 2 that go in the first. Mason Taylor's jumping up boards. I'll tell you that right now. I've heard possibilities that the Eagles at 32.
Jason Taylor's.
Yeah, that's Jason Taylor's kid. So got the bloodline.
The bloodline. How about another one who isn't talked about as much? Terrence Ferguson.
Sure, he's already in the NFL. He's playing for the Cowboys. No, I did watch Ferguson and Taylor are both to me like late bloomers. Like I think they were good in college. I think they'll be better pros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you want a tight end that can run, Elijah Arroyo can run.
Elijah Arroyo was one that was on there. Gunnar Helm out of Texas.
Yeah.
Jackson Hayes out of Georgia Tech.
I still got a lot of love for Harold Fannin from Bowling Green. I watched him rip Penn State's defense to shreds in week 2. I went to the game. The dude just ripped the shreds. And then he followed up the next week. Well, no, because then he followed up the next week and ripped apart A&M's defense.
Yeah, Jackson Hayes out of Georgia Tech is 6'7", 260.
Jesus, that's not a tight end. It's a power forward.
Monster tight end.
Yeah, another kid, I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that don't sleep on Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. It's not his fault that Notre Dame can't pass the ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's another guy that I would look at later in the draft as well. He's talented. He just, again, Riley Leonard can't consistently throw the football.
Mm-hmm.
And had the guy from LSU not killed himself, he would have been one of those wide receivers that would be kind of that early day 2, late day 1 guy.
I don't know. He's a risky one because he had some looming investigations going on.
You know who else was a risky one? Straight cash, homie. He was a very risky one for all the charges that Randy Moss had in college.
Yeah.
Right. Look, we can skip offensive line. I think we've kind of already. I mean, unless you guys want to, but I think we kind of have tackles. We kind of talked about them.
I do got to hop off though, so.
Okay, Dustin, no problem, buddy.
All right, thanks for having me on again, guys.
Thanks for joining us,
Dustin. Thank you for joining us. So
there's one tackle that I want to talk about that I really like.
Well, before you go, can I just point out and thank Dustin once again from Chicago Sports HQ for jumping on with us tonight to talk some NFL draft. Absolute fun having him on. And, of course, I believe, Dustin, he will be live from the draft on Friday. I believe he's going to join us a little bit on Friday night. So look forward to that, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
But, all right, where do you want to go from here, Tyler?
So, potential night 2 guy. Boston College, Ozzy Trapilo.
Ozzy Trapino.
6'8". You can't teach. You can't teach that. Apparently, he's got some very, very solid footwork. He's able to get to the second level well, and he's quick despite his height. If we're talking about possible Lane Johnson replacement in the future,
I
well,
still
how
don't
about a
think they
guy
draft that this year.
who, I mean, depending on where he falls to, I don't know if he's going to go night 2 or if he's going to go in the 3rd round.
I don't think they do it.
I mean, he started 24 games at right tackle over the past 2 seasons. You say you don't think they're going to do it, but
Not yet, not this year at least.
What have we seen with the other guys' replacements? How many years did they do it in advance?
That's fine. I agree. Look, I'm not saying they won't do it. I just personally don't see it. But also, what I want to point out is there's a need on this team right now that actually could be used this year, and that is that since Brandon Brooks, we have not had a consistent right guard.
That is true.
It's been a revolving door ever since.
And I think they address that as well.
Don't give me Tyler Booker in the 2nd round. It's a wrap.
Oh, man.
But where are we at here? We are talking offensive line. Well, let's see. Yeah, we get some interior. I'll tell you one. Another guy in the interior is Tate Ratledge, the kid from Georgia.
Yeah.
But my favorite interior offensive lineman that I've watched, Jarrett Wilson, the center from Georgia. Okay. I watched every pass blocking snap of this kid. He doesn't get moved. And he goes up against Alfred Collins from Texas, who's going to be a high pick. You can't
that
move.
Would translate well to right guard.
They did it with Cam Jurgens, didn't they?
Yeah, that is true. Cam Jurgens was a good right guard before he took the reins at center. Yeah.
He went from a Pro Bowl right guard to a Pro Bowl center.
All right.
Seth McLaughlin's another kid from Ohio State. I'll take it just because, the consistency as a starter, national champion, how he's drafted a national champion each of the last 4 years. But he is coming off a torn Achilles, so that is kind of a little bit of a concern. Not sure when he'll be fully ready.
Well, guess what? He doesn't have to be fully ready this year. That's the beauty.
Yes, but however, if they do go with Steen at right guard, they are limited in depth behind that, outside of Kenyon Green.
What about some of the kids they took late last year, like McMahon?
McMahon's not on the team anymore.
Wait, what? What happened to him?
He got cut in training camp, and the Rams picked him off waivers.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Damn.
But no, you still go there because they still have Trevor Keegan, who I still really like.
Keegan, yeah.
Anthony said the offensive tackle from Texas is good. I'm hoping he's talking about Banks. Cameron Williams is good. He is very inconsistent, and he holds a lot.
Yeah. Banks, he doesn't make it past. Definitely not past the Seahawks. I think he goes earlier than that.
Anthony also wanted to respond to the guy you were talking about. He said 6'8", you can't teach back pain.
Yeah, true.
Carol said, shoot, I've been walking around with since last year with a torn Achilles. Crybabies. Oh, my God, Carol. I had Achilles tendonitis and I couldn't stand it. But my 2 favorite interior offensive linemen in this draft, Tyler Booker, Donovan Jackson. I just love the versatility that Donovan Jackson brings to a team.
Yeah.
I want to talk a few defensive positions before, and then we'll talk a little bit of Eagles draft, and then we can hop out of here.
Yeah.
All right, where you want to start? I'll let you decide.
Let's go Let's go to the interior line.
Oh, shit. All right, we'll go over here till midnight.
You got to pull up your 20-page prospect list.
No, look. What are you talking about? Look, what are you talking about?
Yeah. 15
What are you
page.
talking?
Sorry.
15, 14 and a half. All right. Obviously, Mason Graham is the best defensive tackle in this draft. He's going to go right to Jacksonville and make an impact. To me, the second best tackle in this draft is Walter Nolan, but he keeps dropping on people's boards.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be like last year, how things were weird. All right? You never know how the draft's going to go. What teams are really going to end up prioritizing?
Yeah.
So, you never know. We might see a lot more of these offensive linemen going off the boards, teams trying to build their offensive line up and not focusing on the defensive line as much.
Yeah. I mean, do you have anybody that you have your eye on?
I mean, aside from, the top kids like Mason Graham, Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan,
I like Derek Harmon, too.
I think that kid from Toledo, Darius Alexander, I think
The
is
only
a
thing
real solid prospect.
The only thing people are concerned about with him is his age.
Guess what? I don't give up about his age. Miss me with the age crap. All right? If you can play football, you can play football.
Yeah, I'll disagree.
Another one would be the kid from Tennessee, Norman Lott. He's very explosive, able to drive offensive linemen back.
Oh, the kid from Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah. And he's a good run disruptor as well.
I know we're talking NFL draft. I would just like to let anyone know that Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with John Cena talking about being champion, and he was greeted with the 3 most dangerous letters in sports entertainment.
Okay, there's SummerSlam. Cool, gotcha.
Yeah. Whenever John's allowed to actually be, I wonder if Dwayne will let him be at SummerSlam. I'm missing with him. I'm sick and tired of him. But anyway, no, the kid. If you're looking for, a lot of these defensive tackles are a lot of pass rushers. But
yeah,
you brought up Norman Lott. You brought up Alexander. A kid I really like, EJ Sanders from South Carolina. That Gamecocks defense had a lot of talent on it. Emin Sanders, they got talent over there. So that's a day 2 guy that I really like. Another kid, Tyleik Williams. Now he's a bigger defensive tackle. He's almost kind of built like Kenneth Grant, but he's pretty damn solid too. And then you got some other kids like C.J. West, the kid from Indiana. You have Alfred Collins, the kid from Texas, who is an athletic specimen for his size. Shamar Turner from Texas A&M. Texas A&M had a freaking defensive front.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's so much defensive tackle depth in this draft. It's scary. Justin decided to throw a comment real quick. Say, time to ruffle the panel a little bit. Wrestling died the day they broke Taker's streak. If you watch his documentary, the streak wasn't supposed to end, but Lesnar went behind his back to end it.
Yeah, honestly, that was one of those sacred things in wrestling that didn't need to be broken. It didn't need to be touched.
No. I'm not a fan of guys that are on the board of directors that insert themselves into the biggest storylines during WrestleMania season and then don't show up after Elimination Chamber. Try to find out who I'm talking about.
Yeah. If you smell.
Another guy who sucked at football that had to go be an actor. Sorry, not sorry.
Damn, Sam. Tell him how you feel.
I don't like him I don't like him. It's not just in wrestling. I don't like him. I really don't like him at all. All right. Do you want to slide over to some edge rushers?
Yeah.
You got 10, you got 5, you got 3 hours.
Oh dear God! I mean, we don't got to talk about Carter. We don't got to talk
Why
about
not?
Michael Williams. We know they're going to be monsters.
Same thing with Mike Green.
Yeah, Mike Green. Honestly, the top 5, adding in Pierce with there too, and Shamar Stewart, they're all just going to be productive. Now, who's going to work harder out of all of them? That's, to be seen. But talent wise, they all got it.
I do just want to say, before we get into that, I do want to agree with this wrestling comment that Dustin made about The Undertaker, that Triple H had to talk him out of retirement before because he knows how much value he brought to the business. Oh, he did. He was the guy in the WWE locker room that made sure everybody was in line for years. But edge rushers, yeah. So wait, who are your 5? Who are your top 5?
My 5, Carter, Williams, Pierce, Stewart, Green.
You got Shamar Stewart?
Yeah.
I'm not a Shamar. I don't think Shamar
You're
Stewart
probably
is
higher
good.
on Ezraku than Stewart, aren't you?
I'm higher. I'm actually higher on about 5 or 6 other guys more than Stewart.
Really?
I like Ezraku better. I like Stewart's teammate, Nick Scorton, better.
Oh.
I love Braden Swinson from LSU. I love Jack Sawyer. I like Kyle Kennard. I love Josiah Stewart. I'm not a Landon Jackson guy.
No.
I'll tell you one thing. Kyle Kennard, the dude's got a wingspan of about 8 foot.
What about Jordan Birch?
I'm a little high on him. I like David Walker, the kid from, I think it's Central Arkansas. Again, another guy, doesn't play high competition, but the kid plays football.
Yep.
But my guy,
undersized, 6'1". I guess comparable to like your Nolan Smith, Hassan Reddick.
Well, Ezraku's the same thing. Ezraku's only like 6'2", 235. So, yeah. But it's just, dude, the guy has production at Boston College. I can't ignore it. And Nick Scorton's weird. Scorton's an edge rusher, but he weighs in at 280 pounds.
Oh, man.
So there's some edge rusher defensive tackle versatility there. You could use like some old BG and defensive tackle schemes if they just say the Eagles took him, because apparently the Eagles really like Nick Scorton too. So
yeah,
I could see it. I think Dustin brought him up too. David Walker from Central Arkansas. Look up the numbers and let the world know about this man. He's an animal. He's his number 3 edge rusher. Oh, shit. If Dustin's got him at number 3, then you know that, like I said. And honestly, I'm higher on Jack Sawyer than a lot of people are. I know Sawyer's not the greatest athlete. The dude just plays with a high motor, and the dude shows up in big games. And I wouldn't mind if I walked away with... If the Eagles' edge rusher they add is Jack Sawyer, I'm not upset. And I also, another Big Ten kid I said earlier, I love Josiah Stewart. Love his game.
Yeah.
The production at Michigan is just there. So,
yeah.
So, like, my tier 1 is Carter, Mike Green, Pierce, Michael Williams, and Jalen Walker. I view Jalen Walker more as an edge than an off-ball linebacker.
Okay, that's fair.
And then my second tier is Ezraku, Scorton, Swinson, Sawyer, Stewart, Walker. Walker, I'm telling you, the kid can play.
Yeah.
Here you go. Dustin's got you right here. David Walker is comparable to Danielle Hunter, 6'2", 260, 30 sacks in 3 seasons, with 2 seasons of double-digit sacks. Walker is an Alabama recruit, but backed out due to family issues.
Wow.
So that could be another guy you look at day 2, possibly early day 3, and you may get like another... What's that?
Eagles.
Another Jalen Hunt?
Oh, man.
If I'm looking at it, the ideal guys for a Fangio scheme here are either Swinson or Ezraku. They're both on the lighter side. They're both better at stand-up edges. That's if they go round 2 or somewhere around there. Walker would probably be at the Eagles pick in round 2 as well, and I wouldn't hate it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not a Shamar Stewart guy. The production in college isn't there.
No.
He's a freak athlete, but the football side of it's not there for me.
That's valid.
All right, so you want to do safeties and corners? I'm just going to tell you, if you like any off-ball linebackers outside of Jihad Campbell, then you can go right ahead. After Jihad Campbell, I wouldn't draft an off-ball linebacker to save my life. No, because this year, in terms of off-ball linebackers, it's one of 3 things. There's the first class, which is a bunch of undersized guys that can play on third down pass situations. A bunch of 2-down run stoppers who are slow. That's the second class. The third class, Jihad Campbell. That's it.
Okay.
I'm not high on any of them. Dustin said that Walker is projected to go in round 5, but he is rapidly rising into round 3. Walker has been linked to the 49ers to pair with Bosa and the Rams to pair with Verse. Dustin, don't put that man in the NFC West to piss me off, okay? Don't put that man to piss me off. But, all right, you want to go to some corners we could talk about for a little bit?
Yeah. Let's over to some corners.
I got about 5 guys I really, really like.
So, obviously, Travis Hunter. But no. Outside of him.
No, he's my 3.
Oh, he's your 3? I mean, as far as pure... Yeah, like... And I think that's we were talking about this a little bit before. Travis Hunter really isn't number 1 at either position, but he's
plays both.
Very good at both, which makes him just such a high prospect from that, for being able to play both positions at a high level. Now, I think the best corner in the draft...
Don't do it.
I'm saying Jahdae Barron.
Oh, okay.
With my close runner up to that being Will Johnson from Michigan.
That's my corner 1.
Yep.
It just Barron, to me, a lot of people are saying he more translates to a nickel guy in the NFL.
Yeah.
And Will Johnson at 6'2" can play zone and man coverage. Now he's great in zone, clearly. And plus, with the way the NFL is now with zone, he's a solid playmaker. I mean, he had 9 career interceptions in Michigan, part of the team that won the Natty. And this year was rough on him. He hurt his toe. He had turf toe in October. He had a shoulder injury before that. And he also wasn't able to work at the combine due to a hamstring injury. So I would personally have to say that even with those injuries, I still got to put him as my corner 1. I still just love him that much. I think if he's healthy, that's the thing. Durability is a little bit of an issue, and he was inconsistent this year because in the 6 games he played, he was playing hurt. He was playing with that toe problem. And playing corner with a bad toe it's not fun. Yep. Dustin said underrated corner for him is Louisville corner Quincy Riley.
I think another guy who's kind of like not viewed as highly as some other corners is Darian Porter from Iowa State.
Okay.
6'3". He's got the speed to keep up with receivers. He's really good at making plays and reads and zone coverage. Able to make plays on the ball in the air, get takeaways. I mean, the height is another thing. And, like, we're talking about a draft with a bunch of wide receivers where it seems like the average height is, like, 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
So, you're going to need some taller corners coming around the draft.
Yeah. Another kid I really like in this drafted corner is Benjamin Morrison for Notre Dame.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me is the injury.
The hip injury,
There's a few guys who had season-ending injuries.
Because I'll tell you right now, if Benjamin Morrison's healthy, I may be putting him up there with Will Johnson.
Yep.
Dude is bigger corner. Dude can play.
Yeah. I like the kid, Siobhan Rebel from East Carolina, but he tore his ACL. Yeah. So another guy, like, high upside if he stays healthy.
Yeah. I no longer care about where these kids go to school. With the transfer portal and NIL, it no longer matters.
Yep, you're not wrong.
The two SEC kids I really like, late first round, early second, Trey Amos, Maxwell Harrison. They aren't screaming cornerback one, but if you're a team with an established number one corner and a good nickel, Eagles, Trey, dude, I'll tell you now, if I'm walking out of the draft and my starting corners are Trey Amos and Quinyon Mitchell with Cooper DeJean in the slot, it's a done diddy.
Yep.
It is done diddy. And Maxwell Harrison, that Kentucky defense had some players on it. Kentucky has some players on their defense. Remember, they were taking on the best teams in the SEC, and they were almost beating them.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
And another kid that I really like in this draft, he's more of a sleeper, and it's because of his size. He's not very big. It's Jacob Harris from Kansas State.
Okay.
And now, because of my love fest with Austin Johnson this year, I watched me a lot of K-State football. And this kid can run he can cover. The only issue is he's a little undersized, so he probably translates more as a nickel corner. So, but he can play.
Okay.
Do you have any other corners you want to bring up?
Not too many. I mean, I like the kid from Kentucky, Harrison. I don't know if you talked about him at all.
I do like him.
Even the kid from Florida State, Azariah Thomas. He's another one, 6'2", a little bit taller. He'll be able to slot in somewhere nice. Another guy, he's able to break on the ball quickly, read the quarterback's eyes. So another ball hawking kind of corner. Not the fastest as some of the other ones, but
yeah. But the guy I'm just like so high on is Benjamin Morrison. If you could give him a situation to come in, maybe even not be like a starter right away, to where he would have to get some time to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
If he could, Benjamin Morrison could play, man. That Notre Dame secondary was ridiculous.
Yep.
And then I guess we only have one more position to go, and that's some safeties.
Yep, off the safety.
I have to put my safeties in order.
I mean, we're not going to do kicking prospects, Sam?
Get up. I actually have my safeties in order for one.
Wow.
My top 6 safeties in this draft.
I know there's going to be 2 from Penn State.
Well, I have 1.
Really?
For the other ones, I have 2 sleepers, though.
Okay.
My safety 1 is Xavier Watts.
Safety 1 is Xavier Watts, really?
Even though I don't have him going in the first round because of a tackling issue. But here's how I look at this.
Okay. No, I'm listening.
Look at the new rule here. The NFL is essentially allowing offenses now to start with the ball at midfield.
Yeah.
So what do you want more as a defense? A safety who good tackler, solid in coverage, or a safety that just strictly takes the football away?
That's valid.
The guy had 7 interceptions in 2023. Oh, how's he back it up the next year? With 6. He anchored the Notre Dame defense that literally went to the national title.
Yeah.
And I get Malachi Starks as the better overall prospect. I get he's more polished as a tackler. He's also not the strongest tackler. He's better, but he's not the strongest. But I love Xavier Watts' game. I just love safeties. The safeties are not only the last line of defense, I like guys that take the football away. And I got Starks is right under it. My number 3 safety, do you want to go or do you want me to just go real quickly off mine?
List off yours and I'll go with mine.
My number 3 safety is Andrew Makuba, the kid from Texas. Because I'll tell you right now, him and Jahdae Barron were asked to play everywhere on that defensive backfield in Texas. And every game they showed up and made plays. My number 4 safety, I have Kevin Winston from Penn State.
Okay.
If he was healthy last year and didn't partially tear his knee in week 2, he was easily going to be. He may be better than Makuba. It's just the injury. And I understand I'm going to get a lot of hate from it. I know, Nick Emenwari, I get it. He's a superb athlete. The football tape doesn't really wow me. You could be an athletic. John Ross was fast, but John Ross was a bad football player.
That is true.
I like him in Warrior. Don't get me wrong. I like him. There are guys that translate to me that say that I like in a safety better, and I'm not a number Warrior guy. He's in my top 5. I mean, he's 5. And then my 6 is Lathan Ransom, the kid from Ohio State. Good instincts, just always in the right place at the right time. Not a great playmaker, not great in areas, but very good in all. And again, another guy who won the national title. So those are my safeties.
Okay.
So now the floor is yours.
So, mine, I have Malachi Starks as my highest prospect at safety.
Fair
Number
point.
2, I have Nick Emenwari. I have Watts at 3.
Okay.
And then at 4, I do really like Kevin Winston. And my 5 is Andrew Makuba.
Makuba. The Cooper. I do have some sleeper safeties as well.
Okay, who you got?
I got Jalen Reed, kid from Penn State.
Okay.
Probably a day 3 guy.
Mm-hmm.
He is a guy that if you need a safety that needs to play at the line of scrimmage, be solid against the run, stuff like that, he can do that. He's okay in zone coverage and reading the quarterback's eyes if they make the wrong decision. How do I say this nicely about man coverage? Dog shit.
Oh, man. That was pretty kind.
46 targets, allowed 34 receptions. So he needs a lot of work in man coverage. I do like a system where he would play a lot more zone. So, again, I know I keep saying them. I just watched them be the best defense in the league, the Eagles. That makes a lot of sense here. Because I'll tell you now, C.J. Gardner-Johnson's 2 career years did not come because he was a man-covered safety. Let me just tell you that right this second.
Yeah.
And another kid I really like, Malachi Moore from Alabama. Probably more of a mid-round guy, not athletic at all.
He's an interesting name.
He makes plays on the ball, though. He plays the free safety spot. He can play up at the line a little bit, not as much as Reed. It's just he's really not that athletic at all. That's the problem. But if you get him in the right system, he could be a solid little prospect. This guy had another couple guys I have on my list in terms of sleeper prospects. I have the defensive lineman from Notre Dame, Riley Mills. He's a little smaller against the run. He's a little smaller in his frame, so he could probably be a day 1 contributor as a pass rushing defensive tackle. So Kenny Buchanan, the linebacker from Cal, very good in coverage. So if the Eagles were looking for Kobe Dean help, that could be a name. Dylan Fairchild, the offensive lineman from Georgia, he played left guard. Of course, Tate Ratledge played right. Jackson Slater from Sacramento State needs to get his frame a little bit, but outside of that, he's been a pretty good starter at Sacramento State. Cameron Williams has to relax on holding so many edge rushers at the line of scrimmage, and then he'll be a really good tackle. Charles Grant from William & Mary's an interesting one. Athletic, he's a former wrestler. Not only that, he only started playing football his junior year of high school.
Really?
So you want to look for a solid developmental piece along your offensive line, that could be somebody to look at.
Okay.
And I basically read off all my sleeper prospects in this year. You have anything else you want to bring up?
No, that's about all I got. I know you dug deep with your coverage.
I love draft season.
105 prospects.
I love my draft prospects. All right, you want to end the show with some Eagles draft talk?
Yeah, let's do it.
How you feeling at 32?
32. I want to say, I think it's going to be defensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be D-line or it's going to be safety.
Okay. You got a list of guys that, like, if they're there, that's who you like. Who are your guys in the first round?
Yeah, honestly, if he's there, Starks all day, every day, twice on Sunday.
Agreed.
If Winston's there, I'd consider it. I don't know. Could be a reach, but because there's other guys I would want to go to. If he was the best available for safety, I'd want to take a deeper look at defensive line or edge rusher.
Tyler, if Starks isn't there and Walter Nolan is, this is not even a question.
Yeah, it's going to be him. Or even, let's say Kenneth Grant drops that far. Let's say Nolan's off the board. Kenneth Grant's there. If Starks isn't on the board, I think they could take Grant.
I think they would go as Zarako.
You think so?
Grant plays nose tackle. That's the problem.
Yes, it's a bit of a clash.
They need more of the pass rusher, lighter D tackle. So if they were going to go with an interior defensive tackle there, in terms of scheme fit, I'd probably go Derek Harmon.
Okay. Because we're essentially looking at the Milton Williams replacement, the role that Milton Williams played as the pass rusher next to Jalen Carter.
Essentially. Well, I'll tell you right now, if they get in Walter Nolan, I just want to put my sincere apologies out to Moro Ojomo because he is going to be the backup again.
Oh, man.
Walter Nolan is a stud, dude. Ezaraku would be my guy. I'm not ruling out Trey Amos either. They could use another corner. Do you imagine? This team hasn't had a long-term answer in the secondary for a long time. Now you could potentially have 3 in 2 years.
Yeah, good point.
You could be putting together the Legion of Boom again.
Oh, man, not the Legion of Boom.
Well, I mean, you got DeJean already playing. He's easily already one of the best nickel defenders in the league.
Yeah.
Quinyon, teams wouldn't even throw to him half the time. You pair that with Trey Amos, who is projected to be a cornerback too. I'm cool with that. The Eagles can almost do anything in the first round. I wouldn't be mad about it. Like, is there anything you could sit there and say that would make you mad in the first round?
Honestly, nothing. Because even if it is interior offensive line,
you need it.
I'm fine with that. 32 this year is just whatever the best available is there. Yeah. Outside of if there's skill positions, like I don't need best available wide receiver, best available quarterback, best available tight end. Unless Tyler Warren's available. That's the exception.
Well, tight end's another one because Colton Loveland may be there. Mason Taylor's climbing up draft boards, and I've heard that's a possibility. Do we see a Dallas Goedert trade during this week?
I think we do see a Dallas Goedert trade. Now, is it going to come during the draft, or is it going to come after? Before?
For the club. Excuse me. It's going to come when they draft Harold Fannin Jr. I know he can't block to save his life, but I'll take the tight end who caught 117 football.
That's fair.
I love that kid from Bowling Green. I just love him. He's one of my favorite tight end prospects to watch. If I had to think about it, though, my top 4 tight end prospects are easily Warren, Loveland, Taylor. Who do you like better, Ferguson or Arroyo? I like Arroyo a little bit better.
I like how more well-rounded Ferguson is. I feel like he plays with more strength. Like Arroyo's got a lot of the finesse, but I feel like you look in the terms of overall tight end, I think Ferguson fits that bill.
I don't disagree.
Because, I remember watching a few games at Oregon. He just looks like a grown man out there. Grown man playing against kids.
He's not small. He's not small either.
No, he's not.
All right, so what 3 positions do we think the first 3 rounds will conclude of with the Eagles?
Oh, man. First 3 rounds? Position-wise?
We're doing another mock draft.
Oh, God.
No, we're not pulling that back up. Well, just give me 3 positions in the first 3 rounds. Doesn't have to be in order.
Interior O-line. Defensive line.
I got to be specific.
Or edge rusher.
I'm putting those together.
Or safety, yeah.
You don't think tight end?
I don't know. It really depends, because, if we do see Goddard traded during the draft on one of these nights, then yes, I can see it. Or if we do see a tight end come off the board at 32, one of the ones who might just happen to be there, then yeah, Goddard's definitely getting traded. Goddard's probably getting traded night 2 at that point. So they can move back up and get someone else they might like.
I think Goddard maybe get traded on day 3.
Think so?
I think nothing higher than a 4. I love Goddard, but the guy is needing a new contract. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah,
his injury history. I don't know. But we got some Eagles news today where we can break down really quick. Cam Jurgens, something we basically predicted since the season ended. 4 years, $68 million, $39.4 million guaranteed. Now the second highest paid safety in the league behind Creed Humphrey.
Yeah. Which he's earned it. He's earned it.
Absolutely, he's earned it. The guy was, first of all, you knew it was going to be a successful pick when they let the guy he was replacing pick him.
Yeah.
Not only did he starts at right guard for a year, becomes a Pro Bowler, and he was a Pro Bowler at center last year. And just the guts that he showed in the NFC title game and Super Bowl earned that extension without a doubt.
Oh,
and again, this is what Howie Roseman said. This is why tough decisions were going to have to be made. This is why Josh Sweat was going to have to leave. This is why Milton Williams was going to have to leave. This is why C.J. Gardner-Johnson got traded. They had to lock up important young players, and this is how they look at it.
Yep.
Cam Jurgens is a building block of that offensive line, and they had to keep him. So, this is what you have to do. You have to make those tough decisions. And I'm sorry, if it came down between keeping your Pro Bowl center, you kind of knew where that was going to go.
Yep.
I have no issue. I love this extension for Cam. The Eagles' offensive line is all locked in until at least 2028.
I know, and it's
Except
great.
for,
And then either maybe this year in like the middle to later rounds, we might see a guy that Lane likes and he recommends to, be a future replacement. Or like you said, we just wait until next year and we get him in like the second round or something.
Yeah. Because, and like I said, that's the thing. They could draft the right kid. They could draft an offensive lineman at 32. And I know there are going to be people in the chat that are going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
And they could do it. And guess what? It don't matter. But, yeah. Happy to see the Jurgens deal get done. I guess Jordan Davis is next.
Yeah, Jordan Davis, he's definitely got to be next.
But again, if you draft a Kenneth Grant or a Tyleik Williams, that will tell you what they think about Jordan Davis.
Yep.
A Jordan Davis extension will not get done until after the draft. Because if they take Kenneth Grant or they take Tyleik Williams, that's what you're going to find out real fast what they think about Jordan Davis.
Mm-hmm.
Which, once again, let's have this talk one more time. People still do not understand what his role is on this team.
He's one of the premier run stoppers in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he's quick. For his size and the way he moves, it's rare to see.
Yeah. And he's been coming along.
He's not a 3-down D tackle. He's a situational D tackle. He's out there to stop the run. And when he's on the field, they allow the least amount of rushing yards.
Yeah, and then when it's 3rd and long, you have Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Moro Ojomo, and you tell them boys, go eat.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, Jordan Davis is going to get top-tier defensive tackle money when he gets extended.
No.
But he's going to get a deal that is for one of the better run defenders in the league.
Yep.
Which, speaking of money, the Eagles do save $3.3 million in salary cap space this year with the extension of Cam Jurgens.
Wow.
So, once again. And even if the Eagles have to neglect a position, right? Like, say they don't get a safety. Say they go edge rusher and defensive tackle and offensive line or tight end. Justin Simmons is still sitting out there.
Yeah, and I think Justin Simmons is a real possibility.
Oh, dude, it's basically agreed upon without being agreed upon.
Yeah.
Probably get signed the day 3 of the draft.
Yeah. I can see it.
I think we've done a very good job of getting everybody prepared for the draft this week.
Brought some in-depth coverage.
Yeah, 2 hours and 20 minutes later. But all right. Anything else you want to add on, Tyler?
No, but Anthony's got a random fact he found out.
Why do y'all do that when we're not bleeding? What we got? Wants to know a random fact. What is it, Anthony? What is that random fact? Anthony loves his random facts. I've noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
Any teams you're interested in? I want to ask this before we leave, and while we're waiting for Anthony. Any teams you're interested to see what they do during the draft?
The Browns.
Okay.
I'm interested to see what they do. And also the Giants.
Okay.
I'm interested to see what they do because the front office is still split between Shedeur Sanders or not Shedeur Sanders. So it's still an option for them, but I don't know if they're going to go and pull the trigger on it or not.
Yeah, it's still a really tough situation.
Yep.
I am interested to see a team like Atlanta. What do they do to build around what they have with Penix? I know they got Bijan and Drake London. They don't really have a wide receiver, too. They don't have They need some help defensively. Before I go too more deep into that, Carol, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great week. But before you leave, Carol, I do want to let everyone know something really quick. Real quick, Anthony said every NFL stadium that hosts a WrestleMania went to the playoffs. Raider Nation, stand up.
Raider Nation. I think, honestly, the Raiders, they are an interesting one. I mean, they made some good improvements, bringing in Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. Just fill in the rest of the pieces. They can make the playoffs. They can make the wild card.
Agreed.
There's no reason they can't. Now, granted, they're in a loaded division. That doesn't help much. Kansas City, Chargers,
Denver.
Bo Nix with the Broncos, man.
There's another team because, the Broncos did not go out and overspend for a weapon for Bo Nix. I like the approach. Go get someone he can build a chemistry with for a while.
Yeah.
I think Colston Loveland just makes so much sense there.
I think so, too. Because, quarterback's best friend's always tight end. Get him a reliable tight end.
And they still have, they had a couple guys make plays for them late last year. Cortland Sutton had a solid end of the year.
Yep.
I feel like Cortland Sutton's been on the Broncos as long as Demaryius Thomas was. I mean, they could use a running back, too.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson, I'm telling you.
Okay.
But, I mean, they did sign Evan Ingram, but that doesn't stop me from drafting a guy like Loveland, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, Troy Franklin was a kid that made a couple plays for them last year, late in the year, so maybe and he was Bo Nix's teammate at Oregon, so. Marvin Mims made some plays late in the season as well. He had 500 yards on the year with 6 touchdowns. Like I said, they have Cortland Sutton, who did have 1,000 yards, so they need some playmakers, though.
Yeah.
Their defense is young, so that's good. They got Zach Allen. They have guys like John Franklin Myers. They got a solid young defense. They've got Nick Bonino. They've got Jonathan Cooper at the edge. They signed Dre Greenlaw. They signed Hufunga, the safety from the Niners. They have their can. Their defense is, that's not the problem.
Yeah, that's not.
Go get Bo Nix some weapons. But Tyler, do we have anything else we'd like to talk about?
I think that's about it for our pre-draft coverage.
For day one of the week.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Big week coming up for 609. As always, you guys know what this week is. NFL Draft starts on Thursday. Just so you guys know, we are on not once, not twice, 3 times this week. Tonight, of course, we gave you a draft preview show. We will be live on Thursday night for a complete round 1 reaction show where we'll be reacting to the picks live of the NFL Draft with you here. Of course, our buddy George from the Dueling Aces, which I am now a full-time host on with them as well. He will be joining us on Thursday night to react to the picks. So come out and talk to us in the chat. We're going to have a fun time reacting to the draft. And Tyler and I will also be on Friday night for a night 2 reaction show for rounds 2 and 3. We're going to try to get as much of night 2 in here as we can. Can't promise we'll be on the whole night 2, but we'll be on for a good portion of it. So Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time we'll be on, and then Friday we will be on again at 7 because night 2, of course, starts an hour earlier. So guys, be prepared. A huge week of 609 is upon us, and it all started tonight. Which, before we go, I want to thank Dustin Reese again from ChicagoSportsHQ.com for coming on with us and talking some draft. Always a good time talking some NFL with him. Glad he was able to come on with us tonight. So, Dustin possibly will be popping in on Friday night from the draft. Mm-hmm. He covers the Bears for Chicago Sports HQ. So he'll be there. He'll hopefully try to pop in with us a little bit on Friday night. So look forward to it, guys. Thursday night is not far away. So, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. We hope we got you guys all ready for the draft. We hope you all enjoyed tonight's episode. Thank you, everybody, for commenting in. Dustin, even though he guest appeared, he threw some comments in towards the end. Carol, Anthony, Brian, Georgie, Clint threw some in as well. Clint, hope you have a safe trip back to Ohio from Vegas. Hope you enjoyed WrestleMania too, brother. But, guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we will not see you guys next week. We'll see you guys on Thursday night for the draft.
Yes, we will.
Tyler Adams, I'm Sam Nelson. Good night, everybody.